Welcome to the first World Cup Fantasy stream of this tournament. There will be plenty more. That is the plan, to do one before every single deadline. And we still have so many questions. This game has been quite hectic, to say the least. And whilst we have had the majority of the rules clarified, there are still a few loopholes potentially that I want to address in this video. There's one thing I'm uncertain about, but the rest I'm pretty sure I have a good understanding of it, and I can help you if you have any queries. So let's go through each other's teams, and let's also talk about the best possible Matchday 1 team. And are you going to be playing the 12th man? If you have any ideas for polls, let me know in the live chat and I will put them up, and I'll try to go for as many questions as possible. Let's wait and see how the turnout is, but I know there's still a lot of excitement for the World Cup and this fantasy game despite everything that's been going on. So thank you to everyone. Welcome Alexa. So you say Afif or Ali? I would probably say Afif, but I don't have too much understanding of both of them. I think I have a bit more detailed understanding of Afif, and therefore I'll go for him, but I haven't seen either of them play really that much, if I'm being completely honest with you. Welcome Nick, thank you, and have a nice World Cup as well. Enjoy it. So Wilderness Kid asks, would love clarity on the wildcard rules. So basically what you said, and I think Harry addresses it in the live chat here, is completely right. So if you wildcard just after the Matchday 1 games finish, so after the last game of Matchday 1, just before Matchday 2, it can be any time basically before the Matchday 2 deadline. If you wildcard there, you also have the opportunity to make changes during Matchday 2, because you are still able to make transfers, unlimited transfers, because you've got the wildcard active, and you are able to take out locked players who have already played a Matchday 2. Their points will contribute towards your score on Matchday 2, but you can get rid of them and bring in players for Matchday 3. So you can basically kill two birds with one stone in essence, but obviously you're not going to get every single decision right. There's still going to be more rotation and you might get some things wrong. And honestly, there is still a good merit of wildcarding in Matchday 3, because you can literally just react to the lineups and then do what you have to accordingly. So I still think Matchday 3 is a good time to wildcard, but right now I just don't see any need to wildcard in the knockout stages, to be honest. Welcome Azina, thank you very much for asking. I'm doing well. What about you? Welcome Tech, same thing as well. Let me know how you're doing. Thank you very much for tuning in. Weising asked the best time to use the 12th man. I think Matchday 1 could be the best time. Look, when you're looking at different kind of options, I think Lewandowski in Matchday 2 is good, but why would you use the 12th man when you can just use the wildcard in Matchday 2, which is far more powerful? So I think Matchday 1 could be the best time to use it. Matchday 3 isn't too bad either, but there's more rotation, so I would lean towards Matchday 1. So Zaid, the first game, Ecuador versus Qatar, kicks off at 4 p.m. UK time, so that's 1 hour 53 minutes from now, from the point that I'm answering your question basically. Do you think Portugal will concede? Best option, 5.5 million midfielder. It's a tough one. I don't think Portugal will concede like 2 or something, but for me, they either concede none or 1, and I think Ghana could cause problems actually. I think they are the lowest ranked country going into this World Cup, but they have been in decent form recently. They even beat Switzerland in a friendly the other day, so you never know. And I think the last time these two faced off in 2014, obviously completely different teams now, it was 2-1 to Portugal. So I don't think, you can completely rule out Ghana. I think they could score a goal, but I think Portugal will win, and they have a decent chance of a clean sheet, but I don't think Cancelo is absolutely essential, basically. Yeah, exactly. So deadline is the kickoff, just like in UCL Fantasy. Yeah, Giroud is a good option now with Benzema being injured and ruled out of the World Cup. Giroud is obviously just 2 goals away, I think, from breaking Henry's record as the all-time goal scorer, or if not, it was matching it, but he's, I think, on 51 goals. So Giroud is really good for France, yeah. Griezmann, not a bad choice either, and he should be a bit more nailed with Nkunku out of the tournament, but I'm still not completely convinced about Griezmann. He could be good for Matchdays 1 and 3, but I think in Matchday 2, Denmark could have France there. Hello everyone, is Sosa injured? Will he start? I don't know where you got that from, but as far as I'm aware, Sosa's fine. He didn't start in the last game for Croatia, but then again, so did a lot of the kind of key players for Croatia. They didn't start the game, so I wouldn't take too much, I wouldn't look too much into the last few friendlies, especially the last one that's just gone by, because for example, with Argentina, Lautaro Martinez will probably start in Matchday 1, yet he didn't in that game against the United Arab Emirates. Yes, Soldier Boy, it is from 1986, but it is a replica. It's not like completely authentic. I will be honest there. 17 consecutive days of football, says Zaid. Yes, exactly. Now, I know there's so many questions and comments. I'd love to go for every single one of them. If I don't answer in, let's say, like 5-10 minutes, then put your question forward again. All I ask, no spamming, and we'll go through all your questions, and everything is good. Is Qatar goalkeeper a good option? Obviously, there is this record. So the World Cup hosts have never lost their opening game. So I don't think he's a bad option, but I think Ecuador will score personally. And I would probably favour Ecuador. If there's ever a time, I think, for the hosts to lose, I think it could be this year. I think Ecuador have the better team, but it's not always like that. You never know what could happen, obviously, but he's a decent option, yeah. I mean, he's only 4 million as well. Is Saka a good option? I think there are better choices. That's the way I see it. He's a good choice, but I don't think he's entirely nailed. So there could be times where it's Foden and Sterling playing on the wings, or it could be someone else. So he's a good option, but not completely nailed. And I think there are better options in terms of consistent goal contributions in this tournament. Using Mbappe as 12th man, that's what I'm looking to do. And I actually put a poll out on my channel. I think Mbappe won by a landslide, really. Ronaldo or Kane? I think Kane at the moment. When you look at the recent records for their country, Ronaldo and Kane typically are really good for their country, but in recent games, it hasn't been the case. They haven't scored goals. I think Kane's last 2 goals have been penalties, and they've been kind of sparse in between 5-6 games, but it's definitely an interesting one, but I would go for Kane. Hi, Dylan, for your information is coming home. Let's wait and see. Obviously, you can't rule it out, and actually, when I did a kind of mini prediction, I had England going really far, but honestly, I have no idea of knowing. I'm quite confident that one South American nation will reach the semi-final, could even be Uruguay, but honestly, the final is really hard to tell. It's quite an open tournament, I think. So why no Lautaro Martinez, is that it? So why no Lautaro Martinez in my team? Because I've already got Di Maria and Eni Martinez in goal. Lautaro Martinez didn't play the other day because he had, I think, basically his muscles were overworked. It's called sobrecarga de músculo. So basically, he was playing too many games. He had a bit of tightness. Nothing major. He should be fine. I think he will start against Saudi Arabia. And we can go through the predicted lineup, by the way, for Argentina if you want. Obviously, I would also maybe give my opinions on the other lineups. But with Argentina, I think it would be a bit more accurate since I watch all the games pretty much. I'm not playing fantasy, but I think Lautaro Martinez could win Golden Boot if he starts. I think he's probably, like, apart from Messi, he's the favourite from Argentina to win it. So that's a good shout, Lucas. And Lautaro is a good goal scorer, but you've also got Neymar, Harry Kane, Mbappe. There's so many good choices, so it's going to be tough. Perisic or Bergwijn? I would probably go for Bergwijn. He's playing out of position. So is Perisic, to be fair. You could say he's playing as a left winger, but Bergwijn is playing up front with Depay, or in this case, it could be Janssen in Matchday 1. So I'd go for Bergwijn. The deadline is at 4 p.m, so basically an hour and, I'm trying to count now, 49 minutes, so still plenty of time. Hey Dylan, how do we activate the wildcard? You cannot activate it in Matchday 1. So the way you activate it, and I'll try to show you right now, you click on this button that's flashing, so now it's turning purple when I hover over it, but it's this yellow kind of diamond that has a purple electricity bolt. You click on it, and in Matchday 2, that's the first time you can use your wildcard. Remember, you cannot use the wildcard in Matchday 1 or 4 because you already have unlimited transfers, so why would you use a wildcard? So the game already kind of cancels out for you, but you can use the power captain or the 12th man in any single match day of your choosing. There's only 7 match days, remember, but you can use them whenever you would like. And I'm looking to use the 12th man, probably on Kylian Mbappe, but I'm also considering a Lautaro Martinez, a Kevin De Bruyne as well, trying to keep my options open, but I think I will go for Mbappe. But yeah, that question should be answered as well. Best 7-point family midfielders. It's a really good question. It's something I've been actually thinking about over the last few days quite extensively. So I think it's between the likes of Perisic. Sarabia's a good choice, but one thing I've noticed with Sarabia is he does get subbed off quite often, and also sometimes before the 60th minute, and that is very, very concerning. And that definitely puts me off Sarabia, for example. But you've also got Kimmich at 7 million. You've also got Olsen at 6 million, who's already in my team. He's been in all of my drafts. So I think 7.5 million specifically, it'd probably be Perisic, and that's why I've gone for him at the moment. Shaw or Trippier? I would go for Trippier, but Shaw has a good record for England, especially I think over the last maybe 10 games he's played for England. He's got like 3 goals, including against Italy and Germany, so he's a good goal-scoring fullback. But I think Trippier with the set pieces and being a bit more nailed, he's also able to play on the left. That's why I would favour Kieran Trippier. Jordi Alba versus Cancelo. Cancelo is nailed, whilst Alba isn't really entirely nailed. And also in terms of the defences, I would probably slightly favour Portugal, although it's quite a tough one. I'd say Cancelo, but it's quite a tough one, I'd say, yeah. Don't worry, everyone. So we're getting a lot of questions about the deadline. The deadline is when the first game starts. So Qatar versus Ecuador at 4 p.m. UK time. So we've still got over an hour left. So don't worry. Is Acuna starting? Yes. So all the reports indicate he will start. He was one of the doubts because he could have been kicked out of the World Cup squad because he has been struggling with an injury problem for, I think, a few months now, since June. But Acuna is expected to start. So I can quickly say it for you if you want and maybe get it on screen as well. So the predicted lineup for Argentina is Emi Martinez in goal, Molina as the right back, so maybe you could go for him as an attacking fullback. Acuna is only 4.5 million though, so I would favour him. Otamendi and Romero as the centre backs, Paredes, McAllister and also De Paul, and then up front Messi, Di Maria and Lautaro Martinez. That is the predicted lineup. We can also show it on screen just to make it a bit easier to follow. Yes, Musi, I have heard about it. I've actually updated my comments and some of my recent videos. What I'm planning to do is when I do a best wildcard team video for Matchday 2 and also potentially an updated chip strategy, I will talk about this and break it down completely. Perisic or Bellingham? I like Bellingham a lot, but my concern with him is minutes. I think there will be the odd occasion where Bellingham is benched. Sometimes it could be, for example, Rice and Mason Mount, and that's what puts me off him, and that's why I'd go for Perisic. Hello Dylan, it seems once you press the confirm button you can't move your subs or formation around anymore, unlike FPL, a bit annoying. Well, in terms of subs, you can make substitutions throughout the match day. It's like UCL Fantasy. If you've played that, it's completely the same really. But the difference really is that you can actually sub players out within the same day, which is actually an added advantage, you could say, and gives you another level of micromanagement to UCL Fantasy, for example. What is locked, though, is once you captain a player that plays, so for example, you can see here Messi's my captain. Once he plays, you only have one more opportunity to switch your captain. So you don't have, one captain per day as you did in UCL Fantasy. That's the key difference, really. And in terms of transfers, once a player does play and you bring in someone, even if they have yet to play, you will only have their points, the player that you bring in the next match day. I'm seeing people trying to kind of address this kind of loophole. So, for example, I'll try to hopefully not butcher this. So I've got Messi and Plata. Let's say, for example, Plata played on the Thursday. I know he doesn't, but let's use that as an example. So Messi plays, and I already have his points for this match day. I can then downgrade him to a budget striker and then upgrade Plata or a 4-point family and midfielder like Kazri all the way up to De Bruyne, and I will also have De Bruyne's points for this match day. Now, it is a possibility it will work, but I believe it won't be the case, and I think that will basically be locked in for the next match day and not the current one. But obviously, the wildcard kind of loophole definitely exists. It was addressed even by the creators of the game, so that's a bit of a different story. All of that will be broken down in the upcoming videos as well. Welcome, DOP. Good to see you. Best 4-point family midfielder. Another question I've been really struggling with. For me, it's between Kazri and Gonzalo Plata, but there's definitely a few other options that maybe I haven't even mentioned in any of my videos. But I think it comes down to those two for me. And Kazri was exceptional in the last World Cup. And Plata is an exciting young player. I think Ecuador could score a goal or two in this opener. So it's a really close one. Dylan, will they remove the option to be unlocked once match day 1 is done? If you're on about the wild card, no, they're not going to change anything in terms of the rules. What's set in stone is set in stone. Obviously, we might have more clarification on other things, which might, change our thinking going forwards. But in terms of the wild card and stuff, no, I don't think that'll be the case. Why not a Germany midfielder? I mean, look, they have Japan, who I don't think will be a walkover. They've got some really good players like Kamada and Tomiyasu, for example. And Germany aren't convincing. The other day, they beat Oman by like 1-0, and it took them until the 80th minute. Now, never rule out Germany in World Cups. They're probably the second best in history in World Cups. But, I mean, yeah, Kimmich would be probably my favourite option at 7 million. I even mentioned him earlier when someone asked about 7-point family midfielders. But Musiala, he's only got 1 goal and 2 assists in 17 games for Germany. Not many starts, to be fair. And I think this could be his breakout tournament. You've also got Havertz, who's good for Germany recently. And the other one is Sane, of course. But for me, it's probably Kimmich. And at the moment, I'm not going for him. What do you think about Antony? I don't think he starts. So the Brazil predicted lineup, I'll just go for the front three. It's Rafinha, Richarlison and Neymar. Even Vinicius Jr. isn't actually expected to start. So I wouldn't go for Antony. What are the captaincy choices for you? So what it really boils down to for me is this. Messi and Neymar, or it will be Kane and Messi. So obviously Kane plays on the Monday. I could switch to him and then captain him first and then switch it to Messi in the following day. So basically I'm keeping it very simple between those three. And at the moment, my preference is Messi and Neymar. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I know Serbia is a decent opponent. I think they could cause some problems for Brazil, but Neymar is in exceptional form and Brazil are one of the favourites going into this tournament. And despite how good Serbia are, I think Brazil can still score 2 or 3. So it's going to be a really close one. But that's my current plan. Raum or Stupinian? Really good question. Let me just get your question up, by the way. Yeah. I actually would favour Stupinian. It's a really close one. I'm not that confident of a clean sheet for either Ecuador or Germany, but I think Ecuador are slightly more likely on paper because of the opposition in front of them. Raum has a lot of attacking potential as well, but I'm not that convinced about Germany defenders. What about Trossard? He's 5.5, of course, and I do like him a lot. He was in my recent drafts, but my issue with Trossard is he's not expected to start. And I'm not even basing this off the friendly because he was injured. I think he got kicked in training, so he wasn't able to play against Egypt. But Trossard isn't expected to start, and it will be Eden Hazard on the left-hand side. They can both play in the same team, but I think it'll be Carrasco, I believe, as the left wing-back, so to speak. So I don't think Trossard starts, or at least I have a big doubt about it, and that's why I'm not sure if I'm going to go for him. By the way, I'm sorry, but any questions that are spammed, I'm sorry, you're not going to be answered. So try to be respectful and not jump the queue. Best Ecuador defender, I think it's Estupinian. He created the most chances of any South American defender in the CONMEBOL qualifiers. It has to be Estupinian for me, but a few others to consider are Hincapié and even Preciado, but I would mainly just go for Pervis Estupinian. Suarez or Nunez? I think I'd favour Nunez. It's going to be really interesting to see, by the way. They could be a really good attacking duo, and Uruguay always produce some really good forwards, but I'd probably go for Nunez. Do you think Frimpong starts over Dumfries this match week? That's a good question. I think Dumfries starts, and that's why I'm going for him. Look, it's too hard to tell. For me, I've said this for months now, and I could be wrong. I'm just looking at who do I think are the two best teams, and in my opinion, and obviously there might be an element of bias, whatever, I think Argentina and Brazil are the best teams, and I'm confident of one of them reaching the semi-final or even the final. I'm not so sure about the rest. You know, Europe, I think a lot of the nations are quite inconsistent, but they can definitely step it up for this tournament and end up winning it. So you just never know. But Argentina and Brazil are my kind of favourites. Last time out, I said Argentina, France. And, you know, typically with Argentina, maybe that was a bit diluted in 2018. But this time round, I think a better chance for sure. Is the 12th man chip used every day or what? No. The 12th man chip, once you confirm it, you will not be able to reverse your decision. So if you choose Benzema, and I saw someone yesterday talk about this with me, you can't change it. So maybe just make a new account if that was the case. But yes, in terms of the 12th man, you only have one option. So I'm probably going to go for Mbappe, and that's it. You can't change it. It's completely locked in. That's pretty much the end of the question. What do you think about Kamada for a 5-point family midfielder? I have to say, with Trossard being such a doubt to start, I think Kamada could be even better. That's my kind of opinion on the story. So he's a good option for sure. And even against Germany and Spain, I think Kamada could score. He's a really good option. Fantastic in the Champions League. Even in Europa League a few years ago, I saw him. Really good player. It's not completely locked in, Tafash. Why Plata? Because I need a 4-point family midfielder to facilitate the other players. And on my bench, by the way, I've got Roche, Neymar, and I've also got Cancelo and Borna Sosa. So I need a 4-point family midfielder, and it's between him and Kazri, and I think they're the two best options. I'm not fully convinced about them, but that's what I'm looking to do. Is Morata a better choice than Kane? I don't think so. Kane is a much better player, much better forward, way more clinical. He's on penalties. With Morata, he could easily frustrate. And another thing Kane has over Morata is he's going to get more shots on target, in my opinion, over all 3 match days pretty much. So Kane is the better option. The reason why I mention that, by the way, is because for every 2 shots on target a forward has, they gain a point. Giroud, yep, I like him a lot at 7.5 million, but if you have an Argentina slot, I prefer Lautaro Martinez at 8 million. But apart from him, Richarlison and Giroud are probably the best options at that price and below. But to be fair, there's quite a lot. You've got Gakpo, you've also got Mitrovic, but I have to say Giroud is definitely going up the ladder now with Benzema being out. Dumfries or Cancelo? If I had to pick one, it would be Dumfries. Cancelo is a bit more nailed, so to speak, especially with Dumfries just coming back from an injury, but I would go for Dumfries. Sarabia or Perisic? I mean, you could basically see the answer on my screen because I've gone for Perisic myself. Neymar or Kane? Oddly enough, I think Neymar. Kane has the better fixtures. He was the Golden Boot winner of the last World Cup, but I'd probably go for Neymar. Kimmich, Perisic or Sarabia? I'm going for Perisic right now, but Kimmich is also a really good choice. The reason why I haven't gone for Sarabia is because he tends to be sobbed off either after the first half or around 58 to 62 minutes. I just don't like that at all. Martinez or Kane? Really depends what you're going to do with the extra money. So it's a tough one to answer, but I think without thinking about funds and what you can do elsewhere, I think Kane is the better option. Is Ronaldo playing? Yes, he will play. Best 5-point family midfielder apart from the pool. I think the ones to really highlight for you are De Escareta from Uruguay. Although he has stiff competition from Nicolas de la Cruz. You've also got the likes of Gonzalo Plata, who I have in my team, and Kazri. And the other main one is Kamada, who someone rightly mentioned earlier. But he is facing Germany, and despite how poor Germany have been recently, it still would put me off slightly. Kane or Mbappe? Probably Kane, because He's a bit cheaper, and you can just get Mbappe in with the 12th man anyway, and that extra $500,000 can go a long way in improving other players. Yes, Patrick, really good shout. Pasalic, I almost forgot him. He tends to start the majority of games, not every single one, but let's say around 80% of matches for Croatia, and he's got a decent record for them. So I think Pasalic is a great shout, 5 million. Do you know who the starting goalkeeper is for the Netherlands, mate? Honestly, a few days ago, most people were saying Pasveer, then it was Bilo, I think it's the pronunciation. And the other day, I think it was Nupert who started in goal, and now there's a bit of clamour for him. Honestly, it could be any single one of the 3 goalkeepers. Now, what you could do if you really want a Netherlands goalkeeper is just wait for the lineups, because you do get 2 free transfers once the match day starts to make transfers for match day 1 specifically, as long as the player you bring in hasn't played yet, and the same goes for the player you bring out. So make sure of that, and you can actually get in, just look at the lineup and then bring in the starting goalkeeper. Do I think it's worth a transfer though? In my opinion, not really. Senegal could score even without Mane, so it's a close one. Portugal goalkeeper Patricio or Costa. Most people think it will be Costa, but Patricio is favoured historically by Fernando Santos. Who will you be choosing for the 12th man today? Probably Mbappe, unfortunately. Citizens, we literally just answered your question. There's no need to spam the chat, mate. It's just, there's no point. Kimmich and Neymar or Sane and Depay? Kimmich and Neymar would be my preference there, mate. Why Plata not your captain first? Because you only have 2 captaincy options per match day, mate. So if it was like UCL Fantasy, I would have captained Plata now for sure. But they have clarified in the rules. We can go for it now, by the way, if you want. You can only have 2 captains per match day. Once your first captain plays, which in my opinion, it probably will be Messi for me. Once he plays, you can only switch it once more to someone who is yet to play. So at the moment, I'm looking to go for Messi and Neymar. The alternative is Kane and Messi. So that's why I'm not captaining Plata. So let's actually go through it, because we're going to get a lot of questions about the rules, and I want to clarify this for you. So let's now go to this website. Let's go to this part of the website, and you can see here they have updated the rules. They've added even more paragraphs. There's still a bit of confusion, of course, but basically you only can change your captaincy once after your first captain is played. It's not like in UCL Fantasy where you can have a captain for every single day. Captain Plata today, Kane tomorrow, Messi on the Tuesday, then on the Wednesday go for Perisic, and on Thursday Neymar. You can't do that. You only have 2 opportunities, so it's really important to just go for someone you completely trust, who has a good fixture, that might play in a top team, and that obviously is a good player themselves, fantasy-wise. So the captaincy is very simple. I think what really confuses people is the wildcard and how transfers work. Substitutions, like I said, it's like UCL Fantasy. The key difference is you can make substitutions within the same day. So if I actually show you an example here, so let's say, for example, tomorrow on the Monday, Iran play England. Let's say Trippier blanks. Then on the same day, you can take out Trippier and bring in Dumfries, who plays Senegal, just 3 hours later. You just have to make sure you do these transfers just after the England game finishes, and then do it before the Netherlands game starts. So there's kind of a short window when you make kind of substitutions within the same day. So be aware of that. So it's a really close one. But as for the boosters, that's what really gets people, catches them off guard. The 12th man and the power captain, very simple. We've discussed this before. 12th man, no budget, really has to be considered. You can bring in absolutely anybody. It has to be someone outside your squad, and you can't captain, substitute, or transfer this player out. As for the power captain, the captain just automatically gets assigned to the highest scoring player in your starting 11, not the squad. That's what's been clarified with that. As for the wildcard, the big cheat code that we're all talking about here is to wildcard in Matchday 2. So before the Matchday 2 deadline, wildcard for Matchday 2. And then during Matchday 2, as the matches are going on, so I think Argentina-Mexico is one game, for example, after these games finish, you can take out these locked players and bring in players ahead of Matchday 3. So you, in essence, have, 2 free hits, and you are covering 2 match days with the same wildcard. And then in Matchday 4, you get unlimited transfers once again. Very simple to follow. Obviously, I know there's a lot of confusion with the rules and stuff, but all of that I think should be made clear for you, and of course you can see it on screen here as well. Let's get back to my team, and let's also get back to your questions. 4 million defender or below, I think Borna Sosa is the standout, but you also have Gavardiol from Croatia and Araujo if he's fit, but he's a big fitness doubt. I know he's been doing individual training, and he's got until the Thursday to recover, I would go for Dumfries. I just saw the next question. I would go for Borna Sosa, but the other two are also good. Thank you, Amir, for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. Raum, good option. And what about Richarlison? Good question. We have been asked about Raum before, and he is probably the best German defensive asset in my opinion, but I don't trust Germany to keep 2 or 3 clean sheets in this group stage. Maybe 1, and that's mainly Costa Rica. So he's not my favorite option, to be honest. And around the same price, you can get Acuna, who is actually predicted to start for Argentina. You can also get the likes of Mela, who for me is the best option in the game at that price. You've got Borna Sosa, Gavardiol, Araujo if he's fit. And you've got a few other options like Estupinian. So Raum is a good option, but I think there are better choices out there. And as for Richarlison, at that price, I think he's a really good option. He's got a fantastic record for Brazil. I think he's got like 6 goals or 7 goals in his last 6 games and 2 assists, something ridiculous like that. And I think he will be the main starter for Brazil. Why not KDB? Because Belgium are struggling. Even some Belgian fans are telling me don't get KDB or any Belgian player. But not only that, because I've already got the likes of Neymar, Kane and Messi. And to be honest, I don't have enough confidence in Belgium to really go for him. And I don't think they'll flop in this World Cup, but I have more confidence in, the kind of premiums and the nations that, they play for. So Messi with Argentina, Kane with England, and, Brazil and Neymar. So that's why I don't have KDB. He is a good option though. Key passes, I think you can get points from that, and also goals and assists. He's a great player, one of my favourites in the midfield, but I'm just not going to go for him, I think. King, the link is in the description. If you literally just go on it, I'll try to put it on screen as well in the live chat, but it's really easy to follow. So just give me a second and I'll put the link, but it's literally in the description of all my videos and streams. So let's just bring this up here. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, that should be it. All right, so 1 second. Not sure why it's done that. By the way, we've got, it's absolutely ridiculous. We've got over 800 people watching, so thank you very much for all your support. And if you haven't already, you know what to do. Smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's try to get this stream to over 300 likes. And actually, we are literally this close to reaching 17,000 subscribers. So just keep on subscribing and showing support. It really goes a long way in helping us out. But yes, let's put the link now in the live chat. So yeah, that should be it. Just click on that link and you'll be able to join the league automatically. And you've also got the code there as well, which is on screen as well. Very easy to follow. It's also in the description as well. So let's go back to your questions. Thank you, by the way. Let me just go through this one by one. It's kind of a mess right now. 1 second. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. And I wish you all the best for this match day and also for the rest. Ventislav asks, hi Dylan, 2 questions. Is it true you can sub a player for another player who's yet to play in the same calendar day? Yes, exactly. We covered this earlier. You can do that. So it's a bit different to UCL Fantasy. That's the only real difference in terms of substitutions. And yes, I have heard about the rumors, but I think the source was actually, it's known for misinformation. And look, obviously corruption does exist, let's not, be completely deluded about that. But is it going to happen here, in the way that it says? I'm not so sure. Let's wait and see. But it wouldn't surprise me. Neymar or Messi or Kane? For me, Messi. Thoughts on a fifth? If you want a 4-point family and forward, I would go for him, but he's not exactly someone I trust to score, so to speak. Why are you using your 12th man this game week? Because I think Mbappe has a great fixture. When you look at someone like, or just in Matchday 3, for example, there's a lot of rotation there. It can go wrong very, very easily. And in Matchday 2, I'm planning to use the wild card because of the loophole we discussed earlier. So really, it leaves Matchday 1 as probably the best time to use it. I don't want to use the 12th man in the knockout stages. So really, it goes down to Matchday 1 for me. It doesn't mean you have to do it. You can go about things differently, but that's just my opinion. Thank you, Tiago, for becoming a differential. It's very much appreciated. And we have, like I said, I think over like 50 members and also patrons. So thank you very much to all the supporters. I very much appreciate it. Really good question, Soldier Boy. I've also, once again, highly discussed this and thought about it. I'm going for Emi Martinez at the moment, but Ottomani is $500,000 cheaper, and he's got a bit of threat from set pieces. He's a really good header of the ball. So, look, I think Ottomani could be the one to go for, but because of my structure and the way I've gone about my defense, that's why I've done that. Dylan, Plata or Kazri? I'm going for Plata at the moment. So, look, it's really close, and it's another 50-50 that could go the other way. And is it worth going for a cheaper Dutch defender than Dumfries? I would still go for Dumfries because of the attacking threat. 7 points for a goal for a defender. I think it's very, very simple. What do you think about Zielinski? Good option at 6.5, but he's not my favorite. Once again, you've got Olsen at 6 million. You've got quite a few others like Kamada, De Ascareta, Nicolas de la Cruz, whoever starts there as the left winger for Uruguay. And there's a few others that I probably prefer over Zielinski, but he's on set pieces. He's two-footed. He's one of their best players apart from Lewandowski, so he's a good option, of course. Why name on the bench and Plata start? Because the way you want to organize this, and I've discussed this in my How to Play guide, so be sure to check that out. It's like UCL Fantasy if you've played that. On your bench, do not have anyone who plays on the first day. If I have Plata on my bench when he's playing today, then I won't be able to have his points at all. But if I play him now, you know, let's say whatever happens, let's say he gets an assist, I can then have the opportunity to keep him, whatever I want to do with him. But let's say everyone actually does really well in my starting 11. I have the likes of Neymar, Borna Sosa and Cancelo on my bench, and I can bring them on before their game starts, and I have the opportunity to maximize my points within my squad. So that's the way substitutions work. You can make them manually, and once a game finishes, you can then take out a player, even for someone else who plays on the same day. So that's why everyone on my bench is basically those playing on Wednesday and Thursday. That's the way it goes about. Shaw or Pavard? I think Shaw is probably the better option. I think England have a better chance of a clean sheet, but if you've already got Trippier and you don't want to double up on England defence, that's completely understandable. Then you can go about things differently, but I would say Shaw if you're just talking about who's the better option. So yeah, we've explained this, by the way, in the How to Play guide. Very, very simple stuff. The 12th man is very simple. It's probably the easiest chip of them all. So the way it works is you click on this, then you select apply, and once you confirm your 12th man, you will not be able to change it. So the key things to know about, so look here, I'm showing you as an example. Once I click confirm, and I've got Mbappe here, he's probably going to be my 12th man. That means I can't change my 12th man at all. It doesn't matter if Mbappe gets injured, we get news in the next hour. I would have to make a new account, basically, if I want a different 12th man. The way it works is it's someone outside your 50-man squad, so money doesn't apply. That's why I'm going for Mbappe, despite me using up all of my budget. And also, you can't captain this player. You can't sub them out, even if they blank, and you can't transfer them out for someone else. So basically, the 12th man, you pick them, and that's it. They're someone else, you know, not from your squad, and they can cost whatever they like, really. And it can be any position, any player, and you can also quadruple on a team. So, for example, I've got Di Maria, Messi, and Martinez. I could go for the other Martinez up front, Lautaro, and go for 4 Argentina players with the 12th man. So that's the way it works. Let me know if you have any other questions. I think that should all be clarified. Kane versus Martinez. Like I said, if money isn't an issue, I would go for Kane. But Martinez is really good value for 8 million. I have to say that. Like I said before, we've got like an hour, 25 minutes. So basically 4 p.m. UK time is when the deadline happens. Yeah, Wildcard Matchday 2, it looks like the best time to use it, to be fair. We get so many transfers in the knockout stages, and you can also kill 2 birds with 1 stone and tackle rotation in Matchday 3, and also focus on Matchday 1 with these transfers. So that's probably the best way to go about it. I will explain this in more detail in future videos, of course. Schmeichel or Pasveer? Thank you, Aaron. I'd probably say Schmeichel. Now, you've already got Mailer probably, and you might be a bit unsure about doubling up on Denmark defence, but you could wildcard in Matchday 2 anyway when they face France. And I have too many doubts about the Netherlands goalkeeper. I'm not sure if it will be Pasveer, Bulow, or Nupper. I might have got that name wrong, by the way, but it could be any single one of those goalkeepers for the Netherlands. So, honestly, I'd go for Schmeichel. And I also think that, arguably, Denmark have the better defence, really. Thank you, Bridgerton. Obviously, that's from Copa America. Let's wait and see what happens here. Best Serbia asset for me is Mitrovic. The best ones, if I had to kind of break it down, Mitrovic, Kostic, and the other one would probably be Vlahovic, but Mitrovic is the best one for me. Shaw better than Trippier? Arguable, yeah. I don't think that's a bad shout, but I will go for Trippier, I think. It's definitely a really close one for me. Danilo or Telles? Telles isn't expected to start, actually. I think it's Alexandra on the left-hand side, but Danilo is expected to start as the right-back, so Danilo will be the answer. Tagliafico won't start. According to reports, it will be Acuna as the left-back. Now, this doesn't mean he can't start in Matchday 2 or 3, but for Matchday 1, it looks like Acuna. Thoughts on the Paul? We've covered him before. At 5 million is a good option, but just don't expect too much. You know, he can get the occasional goal or assist, but he's mainly known for his engine. He is all over the pitch. He helps Argentina dictate games, and what he can get is key passes points and maybe the odd tackle point, but really that's going to be rare, and goals and assists aren't going to happen too often. So I think the Paul's a good option at 5 million, but he's just really there to be an enabler, and I think there could be better options. Is Batshuayi an option? Yes. Lukaku is actually expected to miss the first 2 match days, so Batshuayi will play up front, and he's 6.5 million, so he's definitely worth considering. And remember, Belgium's toughest game is Croatia on paper in Matchday 3. So you can have Batshuayi for the first 2 match days, then get rid of him ahead of Matchday 3. Best forward, for me, Depay if he's fully fit. Definitely, no doubts about it. But my favourite attacker, including midfielders, is Bergwijn. He's out of position. He's a midfielder who's 7 million. So yeah, for me, Bergwijn, if you're counting midfielders, in terms of forwards, it's Depay. Well, that's what I'm looking to do, Kerslin. Unfortunately, that's what I'm probably looking to do. Mbappe as my 12th man. Let's see what else we have. Is Muller a good option? He always is. He's got a great record. I think he's got the most goals of any active player in the World Cup. But he's not my favourite, I think, going into this. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, ZX. Thank you very much for that. I do prefer Neymar. Is Ronaldo a good choice? He's always a good choice. You can never rule out Ronaldo, but I think there are better options. That's the way I see it. And obviously, I could be wrong. Max winner, Leclerc, Perez. Oh, damn. Leclerc finished second. Damn. That's all I can say about that. Jesus. Malacia, good option. I think he's expected to start as the left back, but he's not completely nailed. I would rather just go for Dumfries or maybe wait for the lineups and then get the goalkeeper, whoever starts, and you can use one of your 2 free transfers. So obviously there's so many different rules to go through, but that's the way. Yeah, Sonny, I wouldn't recommend that. Try not to copy people, whether it's me or someone else. I just don't think it's the way to go. No, Ericsson. I've already got Olsen and Mailer, and Ericsson's a good option, but I mainly would have him for key passes, and I think for 8 million, that's just not worth it. He was at one point getting a lot of goals and assists for Denmark, and he could do that again, but he's not my favourite option, to be honest. Foden or Muslera or Perisic? Probably Perisic. He would be my favourite of the 3. Obviously, Muslera is a goalkeeper, by the way, so I'm guessing you're talking about Musiala from Germany. It would probably still be Perisic, yeah. Downgrade the pool for Emi Martinez? Yes, I probably would. I think Martinez, look, Argentina on paper are probably right up there in terms of clean sheet odds. I think they're in the top 3 alongside the likes of Brazil. And Argentina's fixture is even better. And also 2 goals conceded in the last 15 games, 0 goals conceded in the last 5. And I think the only goal they conceded recently was a dubious penalty in the last minute against Ecuador. So honestly, I would probably just go for Emi Martinez. I think he's a better option than the pool. Bellingham, says Luca. Yeah, good option, like I said, but I'm not so sure if he's going to be nailed on. That's my key problem with him. Sane, I like him a lot in UCL Fantasy, but for Germany, he's not really the same level. I really like him as a player, but I'm not so sure I'll go for him. Thank you, Shakalaka, for the super chat. Will Louis van Gaal rotate Holland goalkeepers within match days as possible? Noppert seems to be starting according to reports, ESPN Netherlands, but with 0 caps. It's a really weird situation because not only are these 3 goalkeepers in contention, the main goalkeeper before used to be Sillessen, who was, established since 2014. So honestly, I would try to stay clear personally, but I think, yeah, I've also heard the same kind of thing about Noppert being the main goalkeeper, but honestly, a few days ago it was Bulow, then a few days ago it was Pasveer, so it's really close, but a really good, shout that you go with there. I think he could rotate, really, and he's done it before, especially with penalty shootouts. He could take out Noppert and then bring on, let's say, for example, Bulow in a penalty shootout. He's definitely capable. He did it with Tim Krul before. How many substitutes do we have? Anyone on your bench you can bring on. So 4 substitutes. That's how many you have, just like in FPL. But you can bring them on. Just make sure that those on your bench are not, that haven't played yet, basically. So make sure that everyone on your bench is going to play on the Wednesday or Thursday. Anyone playing on the Monday or the Sunday, you're kind of running the risk, really, of forgetting to make subs and you will miss out on their points. Absolutely. Best premium midfielders, I think De Bruyne is the best by far. Then, if you kind of count 8 to 9 million midfielders, then I'd say Di Maria, Bruno Fernandes, and I'd love to say Sane, but I'm not so sure about him in this game. But why not? I'd go for Sane as well. That's my kind of top 4. Yes, Acuna is expected to start. I disagree with that. I think Plata will start, and obviously we're going to get the lineup anyway in around 80 minutes time. I think he's going to start. I'd be very shocked if Plata didn't start. He actually has been very nailed for Ecuador recently. Thank you, Bruno, for becoming a differential as well. Another member today. Thank you very much. Obviously, it's much appreciated, and I wish you all the best for this match day. Let me know if you have any questions. 1 second, I'm just going to get rid of some definite bots here. Best 4 million midfielder. Honestly, I'm probably overlooking some options here, but I just don't really see anyone that's worth it at 4 million. I'd just rather go to Plata at 4.5, Kazri as well. I think it's worth the extra 500,000. Best 6.5 million midfielder, I'd still say Olsen at 6 million. If you want someone at 6.5 specifically, then it'll be a tough one. But once again, I'd just go with Olsen here. Giroud and De Bruyne or Kane and Sarabia? Probably Giroud and De Bruyne. Sarabia can be subbed off before the 60th minute, and that's what sways me the other way. Dominguez or Noppert? I would probably say Noppert, and if he doesn't start, you can still make a transfer and bring in someone who is yet to play on the same match day and just address it that way. So I'd just go for the Netherlands goalkeeper. Plata will start? I believe so. We're going to find out in 17 minutes. I would go for Martinez, Tal. I think Argentina have the better fixture. Martinez, I think, is a little bit more nailed on than Richarlison, although there is some hot competition for both of those teams. Up front with Alvarez, and then you've got Gabriel Jesus. I'd go for Martinez, though. Thorsten Fernandes, I literally just mentioned him. I think he's one of the better premium options, but for Portugal, he doesn't have a great record historically, especially when Ronaldo's on the pitch at the same time. Look, he is a good option, especially in matchday 1, but not my favourite option, to be fair. Why is no one talking about Foden? Because he's not completely nailed, and he's also maybe not the most reliable pick. With England, you've got Shaw, Trippier, Pickford, and Kane. They're deemed as more reliable. If I were to go for an England midfielder, apart from Bellingham, I'd say Foden would be right up there, but I think there are better options elsewhere. Modric, Perisic, you're looking at Bergwijn, Di Maria. I think they're all better, in my opinion. Of course, let me know if you disagree. It was stated in the Super Chat earlier, mate, I think it will be Noppert, who will be the main goalkeeper. He started the last game for the Netherlands. Trossard isn't expected to start. Most Belgian fans will tell you that. It looks like it's going to be Hazard yet again, and a lot of people are kind of sick and tired of Roberto Martinez. Pavard or Mæhle? I think it's no contest. I'd go for Mæhle, to be fair. Wingers for England? I think it should be Foden and Saka, but knowing Southgate, I think he'll play Sterling and probably Saka. And that's another reason why I wouldn't go for Foden. What about Griezmann? Good option. What do you think about Tchouaméni? He's only really going to get points from tackles. I wouldn't go for him, honestly. I think there's much better options elsewhere. I think Lautaro Martinez is the best. If you want someone else, you've got Giroud and Richarlison, but for me, Lautaro Martinez is the best option. What do you think about Bernardo Silva? Yeah, he's also a good choice as a quality player, one of the best Portugal have. And in terms of fantasy, though, I think key passes, that's where you can get some points, and the odd goal and assist. But for 9 million, I think I'd rather just go for Di Maria. 5.5 or 7 million best options in what position, though? That's what I need to know. But if it's in the midfield, you know, I'm guessing that's what your question is, but just let me know first. I mentioned Havertz literally before when I was asked about Germany midfielders. Look, I mean, you can't cover absolutely every single player, you know. Obviously, we have talked about him before, not in much detail, I will admit, but you can't just talk about every single one and cover them. I think the main reason why is because Germany are quite weak compared to previous tournaments, and Havertz is a very unreliable player, especially for Chelsea. But of course, this is different. Let's wait and see. He's probably the most likely to score for Germany, apart from Thomas Müller, you could say. Yeah, I like him. The thing I have a problem with is that in recent games, Nicolas de la Cruz has been playing, the former River Plate winger. So it's between those two as the left winger for Uruguay. That's what puts me off a little bit, but he is a good choice, of course, at 5.5. Yes, I probably will. I think I will. I think you asked this as well before. Ronaldo or Kane? I'd go for Kane, and I'm going for him myself. Yeah, thank you, Karaki. I mean, this is the problem sometimes when we have a really busy chat, and sometimes people, you know, I've answered a question, they still go for it, but it is what it is. Is Costa first choice? I believe so, but it will still be quite tough between him and Rui Patricio. Most Portugal fans will tell you Diego Costa should start. Ronaldo or Kane? Yeah, we just answered that as well. I'm going to try to go through some different questions, of course, since we've just answered some of them. Is Bentancur good? He's had a great season for Spurs, arguably their player of the season, but from Uruguay, I'd rather go for Nicolas de la Cruz or De Azcareta. I'd rather go for one of them. Whoever plays as the left winger for Uruguay, they've got much more attacking potential than Bentancur, who plays a bit deeper for Uruguay compared to Spurs. Sarabia or Zielinski? Probably Sarabia, but like I said, my main issue with Sarabia is that he gets subbed off quite early, very often. Is Sarabia nailed? No. And I think he'll start most games, but he will also be subbed off quite early, very often. I'd go for Otamendi. Argentina, for me, have a better team, defence, and also fixture. Obviously, it's all subjective. Pavard is a good choice, but I'd rather go for Otamendi. Best Spain player? I think Asensio could be the best one. He's playing down the middle. He's a bit more expensive than Sarabia, as an example, but Asensio could be the one. It's a tough one with them. There's also Unai Simon in goal, who could be a nice alternative to Emi Martinez, and that allows you to go for Otamendi in the defence or Lautaro Martinez up front. So I'd say Unai Simon or Asensio. Best 5 million goalkeeper? Diogo Costa from Portugal. Uh, Best 7 million midfielder, already have Bergwijn and Kimmich. I'd say Olsen at 6 million. If you want someone at 7 million specifically, then it gets a bit tougher, but you've already got two of the best ones. I'd say Olsen. Good Brazil assets except Neymar, Richarlison, Marquinhos, who starts every game alongside Thiago Silva, really. Sometimes Militao comes in, but that's the expected centre-back partnership. Alisson in goal at 6 million. So really, it'd be Richarlison. He'd be my favourite one. Cancelo or Pavard, if you can afford it, I'd go for Cancelo. Is Alisson Becker worth it? Yes, but 6 million is still very expensive for a goalkeeper, especially when you play Serbia, who, they have Mitrovic, Vlahovic, Kostic. They've got some really good players, and they could go very far in this tournament. Captain Plata? No. Remember, with the captaincy, you only have two chances. You've got one captain, let's say Messi. If he doesn't do that well, you want to captain someone else, you can then switch it to Kane. Well, so not Kane, that's a bad example. To Neymar, for example. But you're not able to captain someone on every single day. You can't captain Plata today, Kane tomorrow, Messi Tuesday. You can't do that. There's only two choices for you. So make sure you captain someone you can rely on. I would highly recommend the likes of Messi, Mbappe, Kane, and Neymar. Can't forget De Bruyne as well, of course. They're probably my top 5 captaincy options. I wouldn't deviate too much away from those lot. What do you think about Goretzka? He's someone I have not mentioned at all. Quality player. He's a very interesting one because he can get goals. He can also stat pad in a certain game. So I do like him, but he's still not my favourite. I think from Germany, Kimmich, Gundogan, and probably Musiala will be my favourite Germany midfielders. Thank you very much for the super chat, Das. I appreciate it. I would go for Diogo Costa. I think he's the best one, but you can also consider some cheaper options. You've got Roche from Uruguay. You've also got Dominguez at 4.5 million, but apparently, and we're going to find out in 10 minutes, it could be Galindez starting for Ecuador. So let's find out there. You've got the Netherlands goalkeeper to choose from, but 5 million goalkeeper, I'd keep it very simple. I'd go for Diogo Costa. Thank you very much for the kind words. Do you think Acuna will start? Yes, we've covered this before. Acuna is expected to start. Thank you, Aki, as well for the super chat. De Bruyne and De Paul or Musiala and Foden, any 8.5 million midfielder. I would go for Musiala and Di Maria. I do like De Bruyne and De Paul, but like I said earlier, De Paul does take a precious Argentina slot, and I would rather go for Otamendi, Acuna, Martinez in goal, Lautaro Martinez, Di Maria, Messi. I think they're all better choices from Argentina. De Paul's a quality player, one of the most important Argentina have, but in fantasy, I don't think he's the best choice. Spain defense, yes, I really like it, but at the same time, I'm also very concerned because apart from Pau Torres, you could say, and maybe Carvajal, I'm not so sure about who's nailed because it could be Marcos Alonso, Jordi Alba, or maybe someone else entirely as the left back. So I've got a few doubts there. Casemiro is good for tackles, but I've looked at his games recently and he's getting 1 or 2 tackles per game. You need 3 tackles to get 1 point. So really, it's really rare for a player to get 5 or 6 points from tackles alone. And that's why I would avoid these kind of tacklers in the game like Casemiro. I think Trossard's a quality player, great season so far for Brighton, and he has done a good job for Belgium recently, but he doesn't start. And recently he's got a bit of an injury problem. I think he'll be fine in time for the game later this week. But my issue is that Eden Hazard will start, and a lot of Belgian fans will tell you the same thing. Molina and Pavard or Cancelo and Acuna? Very good question. I would go for Cancelo and Acuna though. Best 9 million midfielder, already have Di Maria. I would actually maybe say Modric. It'd be between him and maybe a Germany midfielder like Musiala. But yeah, really good choices. I'd go for one of them. I would go for, look, for me, Otamendi has a better chance of a clean sheet, but Cancelo obviously has the attacking threat over him. I'd go for Cancelo, maybe cover Argentina differently with Martinez in goal. Or Acuna, 4.5 million, you can't go wrong with that. Morata's a good choice, decent choice, but like I said again, you've got Lautaro Martinez up front, 8 million. I think he's better. You've got Richarlison, Giroud. Once again, I probably think they're better as well. Yeah, I just mentioned Unai Simon. He's one of my favourite Spain players overall. 5.5 is a bit expensive, and Spain aren't the best defensively, but I think they will go quite far in this tournament. I think they're a good team, and he's a good choice. Thank you, Carlos, for the super chat. It is a very long message, so I'll try to feature it, but some of it will be cut off on screen. Could you rate, please, Pickford, Roche, Mailer, Trippier, Dumfries, Soso, Stupinian, KDB, Di Maria, Sarabia, De Paul, Olsen, Kane, Messi, Richarlison, 12-man Mbappe. I have to say, great team. Some very good picks in there. In particular, I like Roche, Mailer, Trippier, Dumfries. Borna Sosa is obviously a good choice. KDB, Di Maria, Olsen, Kane, Messi. I like them a lot. Even the others are very good choices as well. My only possible concerns is De Paul. Like I said earlier, obviously at that price and below, he's one of the best, but I would rather cover Argentina a bit differently. So you can go for Lautaro Martinez up front. You can maybe go for Acuna in the back line. And you've gone for Pickford and Trippier. So, you know, in terms of rating, I'd easily give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. But what would I be a bit concerned about? I'd say the pool. Sarabia, he's someone I'm very concerned about because I think he could be subbed off between 58 and 63 minutes, and that could be very costly for you. So just bear that in mind. And then you've got Estupiñán. Good choice, but then again, he is facing the host in the opening day, so I'm a bit unsure about that, even with my case with Plata. I have to say, though, my main concerns is Sarabia and the pool, especially Sarabia. Really good team overall, though. Let's see. This is a really good question I wanted to get on screen. Let's see if I can find. I don't think I can. There's so many questions here, so apologies here. Thank you, Chu. Thank you very much, and good luck to you as well. Best 4-point family and goalkeeper is a really commonly asked question, so I'm going to try and get this up on screen. I'm losing count of here. So 4-point family and goalkeeper, I would probably go for Netherlands one. So whoever starts, you can just bring them in using one of your 2 free transfers. That would be my easy suggestion there. In terms of 4 million goalkeepers outside of Roche, I think Galindez could start. We're going to find out in 6 minutes, so let's wait and see. But Galindez is the main one, really. Then you've got the Qatari goalkeeper, but I would rank it as Roche first, Galindez second if he starts, and then third the Qatari goalkeeper. Can you change your tactic after matchday 1 starts? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean boosters, no. Once you use the 12th man, that is final. You can't change it. The power captain, the same thing. As for the wildcard, you can make changes throughout the game week, but you can't use the wildcard now in matchday 1. We mentioned the pool many times in this video, mate. Like I said, good option at 5 million, but you're mainly going to get points from key passes and the occasional goal assist. You're not going to get too much from him compared to other Argentina players. Yes, Paredes is a good, cheap starter for Argentina, but he plays as the defensive midfielder, and there's no points for passes, which he would definitely excel in, and also touches. But yeah, Paredes, he's even worse than the pool, in my opinion, in terms of fantasy. I wouldn't go for him personally. I'd rather go for Kazri or Plata. More offensive options. Is Gavi a good pick? He's decent, and I think he scored in Spain's last game against Jordan, but I think there are better choices elsewhere. Not a bad option, though, at all. Best 4-point family and defender below. You know the answer to that. It's Mela, Borna Sosa, and probably Acuna for this match day only. Depay or Lautaro? I'd go for Lautaro because Depay still has a bit of a doubt to start. Is Roche nailed? In my opinion, he is. He started 8 games of the last 9 under the new manager. I would find it very strange if Diego Alonso suddenly just goes to Muslera. I think that would be very strange. And Muslera, you know, very good for Uruguay historically, but now Roche, you know, he's got a great record for Uruguay. I think he's only conceded 2 goals for them in 9 games. I think he's going to start. I would go for Lautaro Martinez. He's 2 million cheaper than Lewandowski, plays in a better team, better fixture. And Lewandowski, obviously, great player, one of the best strikers in the world, but Lautaro would be my option. Is Richarlison a good choice? Of course he is, and he's expected to start. It looks like Vinicius will be benched, so I think he's a good choice. Kazri, 80% is benched. Yeah, I've seen some people say that. I'm not sure if it's to do with injury. Let me know about that, by the way. But very strange because in the last World Cup, he was fantastic. He hasn't been as consistent in terms of goals and assists this season for Montpellier, but he's a good option. He's even scored against PSG, for example. Can I switch my captain 4 times? No, we've covered this already. You can only change it once. So in my case, I've got Messi. If he doesn't do that well, or I want more points from my captain, I will then change it to Neymar. That's it. You can't captain, you know, every single day. You can't do that. Best premium defender, in my opinion, is Denzel Dumfries. Another one to highly consider, of course, is Joao Cancelo, and I do have both. And yeah, Remzinho, like I said, I'd go for Dumfries. I don't think so. I don't think Tchouaméni's a good choice. He might get tackle points, but I just don't really see him being a great fantasy option. Alvarez, he isn't expected to start. It looks like it'll be Lautaro Martinez, Messi, and Di Maria. And Argentina won't switch formation, and it will be McAllister in the midfield coming in for Lo Celso. So I don't think Alvarez will start. Is Pasveer starting? Apparently, it's going to be Noppert. Hopefully, I've got that right, by the way. The other day, we got shouts about Bulow. No, the Netherlands goalkeeper situation is very complicated. And honestly, if you really want a Netherlands goalkeeper, wait for the lineup and then you can make a transfer. You can use one of your 2 free transfers for matchday 1 after this deadline passes and you get the lineup. If Plata does not start today, what player will we be going with then? If I want a 4-point family in midfielder, then I'd probably go to Kazri. But what might happen is I will change my team a little bit and maybe go for Kamada or Trossard, or maybe change to someone else like De Escareta from Uruguay and then downgrade one of my defenders. So I could change some things before the deadline. Yes, you can, Vasquez, but you can only make 2 transfers in matchday 1 throughout the match day. Every other transfer you make will incur a -3 hit. And in matchday 2, this is why we're talking about wildcarding in matchday 2, your wildcard will stay active until the end of the match day, and you can also build a team for matchday 3 when you're wildcarding into matchday 2. We're going to explain this all in detail, obviously, in future videos. It's very hectic in this chat, of course, at the moment, and we have repeated this already, so I don't want to just keep on repeating the same information. Cancelo Pavard, I'd go for Cancelo. Is Valverde good? He doesn't play the same role for Uruguay as he does in Madrid, so good choice, but he's not the best one. I think there are better options like Di Maria, Modric, and many others. Kimmich and Bruno or Sane and Perisic? Good question. I would probably go for Kimmich and Perisic, but it's really close. Honestly, you could go for either duo and you'd do a good job. Yeah, once again, spamming chat. It's not going to even get an answer. Dumfries isn't injured. So he actually has been in training for the past week. He had a problem, but he's fine now, and he's in contention to start. The same goes for Depay. Turner or Stefan, who starts? It's Turner at the moment. He is the main goalkeeper for the USA. Is Telles starting for Brazil? No, it looks like it's going to be Alexandro. One of Germany's best performers, says Hayden. I'm guessing you're on about Kimmich. I'm not sure who you're on about. Oh, Hoffman. Yeah, he's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. But once again, he's just not someone I can really trust. I think Kimmich is the one I'd mainly trust from the Germany midfield. Theo Hernandez or Pavard? Theo Hernandez isn't expected to start, according to all the lineups I've seen. It looks like it's going to be Lucas Hernandez, so I would go for Pavard. Camavinga, no, I wouldn't go for him. Iran have a solid defense. We'll just get the question up. I doubt if Kane is going to score. Look, I don't think England are going to walk over Iran. It could happen, but I don't think it will happen. And honestly, yeah, Iran might have a solid defense, but so do England, and I think Kane can still get a penalty or get something, even get points from shots on target. I can see your point of view. I don't think Iran will be as easy as people think, but I think Kane will score. Let's wait and see what happens. Pickford or Martinez? I think Martinez. Neymar or Kane? I'd go for Neymar. We've covered this already. The deadline is in 1 hour. We're going to get the lineup now, by the way, for Ecuador, so let's actually check and see what we can get here. So let's see if we get the lineup for Ecuador. I think this is the right page. Let's see if they've got the lineup here. No, they don't. Not yet. Okay, that's great. Let's see if SofaScore have the lineups. That would be good. No, we've still got possible lineups. We've got literally an hour, just on an hour left of the deadline. And also for the first game to kick off for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. I might go for the Twitter pages, actually. So just bear with me for a second. We've got over 1,000 people watching, by the way. So if you haven't already, you know what to do. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. It really helps out the channel. Let me just... Zielinski or Kimmich? I would go for Kimmich. But yeah, that's all covered. And yes, you know what to do here. Thank you very much to everyone. I'm going to get the Ecuador and Qatar lineups here right now on screen. So don't you worry. We're going to get everything covered here on this channel. Let me just try find it on Twitter because I haven't seen it on the official World Cup page, unfortunately. I think Ecuador should post the lineup. Sometimes they do take quite long, though. If any of you see a link to the lineup, then be sure to put it in the live chat. But yeah, I haven't seen it so far, which is very surprising, actually, the fact that we haven't got this lineup yet. All right, so let's go back to my World Cup team. And if we find out that Plata isn't starting, then there could be some changes here to what you see here. So let me just bring this up. Okay. Kimmich or Bergwijn, I would go for Bergwijn. Best German defender, I would go for Raum, the left back. R-A-U-M, by the way. I probably completely butchered it. Yeah, I might try Google as well. The deadline is literally at 4 p.m, so in 58 minutes, mate. Wales goalkeeper is between Hennessy and Ward. I'm not so sure who's going to start there. I think it's best to ask someone who supports Wales and watches them week in, week out. But even they might not be that sure. What about Dalot? Good choice, but I would rather go for Cancelo or Diogo Costa in goal. Valencia thoughts. Good choice if you want to strike at 6.5 and below. But you've also got Gakpo at 7 million. You've got Mitrovic, Richarlison, Giroud, Lautaro Martinez for literally just 1 million, 1.5 million more. I think they're all better options, to be fair. Thank you, Marco. Good to see they finally posted it. So Ecuador have posted a lineup, and I believe it will be as expected. So let's just bring this on screen. Thank you, Marco, very much. So this is Ecuador's lineup. They've gone for Galíndez in goal. So there you go. I was actually thinking that Dominguez would start, but I said, I would have started Galíndez, to be fair. Estupiñán, Hincapié, Torres, Preciado, Méndez, Caicedo, Plata, Ibarra, Valencia, and Estrada. Sorry, I'm a bit blind. So yeah, that is actually quite an offensive lineup because there was some doubts about it being between Ibarra and Ena Valencia to start alongside Estrada and Plata. But they've gone really offensive. And by the way, one kind of key injury, which I think has happened, is Gresso as the defensive midfielder. He was expected to start, but I think in the last few days he picked up an injury or he's not fully fit. I think that's the main issue. He's not fully fit, so he might be on the bench. So there you go. Good lineup there from Ecuador. Very offensive, I would say. Let's see what this opener has in store for us. I know a lot of people will say, oh, on paper, really, this game? But I think it could be better than expected. So that is the lineup. We can get the Qatar lineup as well, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to go for any Qatari players, to be fair. So let me know your thoughts on that lineup. Thank you very much once again to Marco. I appreciate that very much. 7 million attacker, says Hedge. Forward, I would go for Gakpo. Gakpo or Ena Valencia would be my pick. Best 5 million midfielder, probably Plata, 4.5. Kazri and the Pool. They are my favourite options. Do you think Otamendi or Emi has a higher ceiling? I mean, who knows? Because Emi could save a penalty. He's really good with that. And also Otamendi has the chance of scoring a goal. I'd say Otamendi generally has the better chance. Perisic or Musiala? Perisic. Why is Olsen good? He was Denmark's top scorer in qualifiers. He also got 3 assists in 7 starts. And he's also on set pieces, by the way. So Eriksen's the main set piece taker, but Olsen takes some as well. So I think he's a really good choice. 6 million. You can't ask for much more. Nunez, Martinez, or Richarlison? Yeah, Nunez is a good shout, but I'd go for Lautaro Martinez. Yes, I probably will. I probably will go for the 12th man here. What's my bench? My bench, I believe, is Roche, the Uruguayan goalkeeper, Neymar, Borna Sosa, and Cancelo. And they all play in the later days. That's why, if you are unsure about that, then be sure to check out my How to Play World Cup Fantasy Guide. Lisandro Martinez isn't good because he's not expected to start. He's the 3rd choice centre-back for Argentina. It's Christian Romero and Otamendi who start every single game. And they haven't conceded a single goal alongside Emi Martinez in the back line. And I think this is in like 10 games. That's something that they've played with each other. Best cheap defender, Borna Sosa in my opinion, but you've got Araujo if he's fit, and Gavardiol, who's a 4 million centre-back for Croatia. But my personal pick would be Borna Sosa. Yes, I think Sophie for Legend Guy, he is expected to start. A lot of Croatian fans will tell you that. Is Kazri fit? I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure about his situation, and he is facing Denmark, which does put me off, and that's why I've gone for Plata at the moment. Once again, strikey, I would go for Plata or Kazri. Bufal, Kazri, De Paul, Plata or De Escareta? I would probably say Plata or De Arescaeta. I've actually never heard a pronunciation of him, so that's why I'm kind of butchering it here. See, Galíndez on Forza, yes. Dominguez actually produced a really good performance, I remember, in 2014 against France. He made like 9 saves, and Ecuador drew 0-0. But yeah, Galíndez has been the main goalkeeper for the last year or so. Best 5 million midfielder in Argentina, we literally covered that just now. Plata's Ecuadorian, and also Kazri's from Tunisia. Pavard or Acuna? I'd go for Acuna. Harry Kane or Ena Valencia? Harry Kane. 6 to 8 million midfielder, I'd say Olsen, Perisic, Musiala, Kimmich. They are some of the best options there. Best 9 million or below midfielder, in my opinion, it would be Angel Di Maria. Thank you, Ross. I appreciate it very much. And we're going to now switch over to my team. So we have gone through the Ecuador lineup. Plata is starting, by the way, for those that want to know. So thank you, Ross, for the very generous donation. I very much appreciate it. Any tips or advice? My team is Pickford, Roche, Dumfries, Cancelo, Estupiñán, Trips, Mela, KDB, Olsen, Bergwijn, Al-Malki or Al-Malki, De Paul, Messi, Neymar, Kane, Mbappe, 12th man locked in. Really, apart from Al-Malki, I think the rest of your team looks exceptional, and I can see why you've done that because it facilitates Kevin De Bruyne, Kane, Neymar, and Messi. So honestly, really good stuff. I would personally prefer a bit of balance, and maybe you could downgrade someone like KDB to Di Maria and then upgrade the likes of Al-Malki and De Paul. But it's all subjective, and honestly, the vast majority of your picks are good. My only concern, like I said, is Al Malki, and the pool isn't the best Argentina option in my opinion. Of course, the fixture's there for him. He could even score a goal, which is quite rare for the pool. But yeah, Al Malki is my only suggestion really in terms of a weak link per se. The rest of your team looks exceptional. I wouldn't change Olsen, Bergwijn. Mbappe 12th man looks good. Your front three looks great. Everything else looks very solid as well. Even with my doubts about Ecuador keeping a clean sheet despite their good defensive record, Estupiñán is a good pick. He created the most chances in the World Cup qualifiers for Ecuador and also amongst any South American defender. Thank you very much for the super chat. Let me know your thoughts on that. Yeah, I think a lot of us are using this the 12th man. I might put a poll out, by the way, and see what you guys think. But it's a really popular strategy to use the 12th man now. Are you using the 12th man? That will be my first poll of the day and also the World Cup. Are you using the 12th man booster? Let's put a little emoji as well. So bear with me for a second. Future in Matchday 1. Okay, I think that should be it. All right, be sure to vote in this poll. This will not have any effect on terms of what I'm going to do. I think I will be using the chip on Mbappe, but I want to see what you guys think since some people are kind of curious to know. Thank you, Ross. Thank you very much, and God bless and enjoy the World Cup. Matchday 1 deadline is literally in 52 minutes, so 4 p.m. UK time. It's as soon as the game starts. It's going to be the same case every single match day. As soon as the first game starts, that's when the deadline closes. Opinion for Sane, great in UCL Fantasy. I really like him as a player, but I don't think he's the best option in World Cup Fantasy. Of course, I could be proven wrong. Thank you, Karaki. I obviously, in the kind of commotion of this live chat, I haven't actually realized, but thank you very much to everyone for helping us reach 17,000 subscribers, and thank you, Karaki, for letting me know. So I think in the stream we have gained, yeah, like 100 subscribers. So thank you very much. We just hit 17,000. Let's keep on pushing. The objective, and I know it's very ambitious, is to reach 20,000 by the end of the year. It'd be great if we could make that possible. And let's also try to reach a like objective. We've got over 200. Thank you very much. Let's try to get this to over 300 likes. It'd be very much appreciated. Go a long way to helping this channel. And thank you very much to everyone who's already supported us. And thank you, Julio Peña. I'm going to go for your question now. Let me just bring up the live chat so I can feature it on screen as well. By the way, let me know, what do you think of the featuring the chat on screen? I know a lot of you liked it in FPL. I want to see how it kind of works when the chat is even busier in World Cup Fantasy and UCL Fantasy, which we always cover on this channel as well. So Julio Peña says, I have Ward, Mailer, Otamendi, Trippier, Pavard, Bergwijn, Di Maria, Al Hassan, Kazri, Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, Modric, Cancelo, Costa, 12 minus KDB. I have to say, I like your team a lot, but in my personal opinion, your midfield is slightly imbalanced. You've got Al Hassan and Kazri. I think one budget midfield is enough. I wouldn't go for two budget. That's just my personal opinion. Of course, play the game the way you want to, and you've got a really good team everywhere else. And my other concern would be Ward. I think Wales are a decent team. They could even qualify to the next round and give England problems, but I think there are better goalkeepers out there. And for example, you've got, I'm not sure who your other goalkeeper is, trying to make sense of that, but Roche. Oh yeah, Diego Costa, sorry. So from Portugal, that's a really good choice. But you can go for Roche from Uruguay. He's expected to start. He's 4 million and he plays in a better team than Wales, and he's got a better chance of a clean sheet in Matchday 1. So I would recommend Roche or Galindez instead of Ward. And I would also look to upgrade Al Hassan and Kazri, at least one of them. And my preference would be to upgrade Al Hassan, although there are some doubts about Kazri starting in Matchday 1, Julio Peña. So let me know. Better Argentina triple, 3 attack or 2 attack, 1 defense. 2 attack, 1 defense, and that's what I'm going for right now. I love triple Argentina attack. I think it could be really good in Matchday 1, but Argentina have a really good defense as well. They haven't conceded in the last 5 games. They've scored 19. They've also conceded 2 goals in the last 15 games overall. And under Scaloni, they rarely concede. They haven't lost a game in 36, and I would try to have a piece of their defense. So that's my opinion on that. Can you explain wildcard strategy in Matchday 2? I'll try to do this very briefly since we have done it before, and I want to leave a very thorough explanation for future videos when I talk about the wildcard in Matchday 2. So the way it works is after Matchday 1 is completed, so after the final game of Matchday 1, you can then wildcard into Matchday 2. So before the Matchday 2 deadline, activate the wildcard, and you can make as many changes as you want for Matchday 2, as usual, right? But the difference is the wildcard stays active until the very last match of Matchday 2. So you are able to actually take out locked players who have already contributed to your team. Their points will count for Matchday 2. But you can take out those players and bring in players for Matchday 3 and counter the rotation potentially. So let's say, for example, Uruguay win their first 2 games and they might rotate matchday 3. You can then get rid of their players or go for Nicolas de la Cruz or someone who's kind of a fringe player and target them in matchday 3. So that's the way it works. The only thing you have to bear in mind is you have to make these changes for matchday 3 before the final game of matchday 2. That's the way it works. I'll make this very clear in the video, don't worry, but I think that was a decent explanation. Let me know if you have any other doubts. Thoughts on Bruno Fernandes? Good option, but he's not my favourite. I'd rather go for Di Maria as an example. Still, obviously, a good choice, and Portugal have a really good team. Giroud or Gakpo for matchday 1? Good question. I'd say Gakpo. If I had to pick one, it's really close, and Giroud obviously very, very good for France, but didn't score in the last World Cup, and I'm not so sure. You know, I think he will just come in for Benzema, like for like replacement. But I'm not so sure about France this year, and that's why I'm a bit conflicted. I'd say Gakpo. That's my gut feeling. Thank you, Derek. I very much appreciate the kind words, and it's good to see you on here once again. Perisic or Eriksen? I'd go for Perisic, Jimmy. Can I ask a question? Is Denmark's Rasmus Christensen nailed? I believe he is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he is nailed on. I'd rather just go for Mæhle anyway. Why go for Christensen when you can go for Mæhle, who's 4.5 million and gets more attacking returns for Denmark? That's the way I see it. Ronaldo's always a good option, but is he good enough to be in our teams? Not in my opinion. Thank you, Aaron, for the super chat. 4 top players for 12th man. So to recap, I would say Mbappe. It seems a bit too easy, a bit too good to be true, but I'd say Mbappe, De Bruyne, Lautaro Martinez, or if you have him already, maybe Di Maria, so one of those 2. And the final player would maybe be Neymar. So you might really like Brazil and Neymar, but you're not confident enough of the fixture to really captain him. So you might just bring in Neymar. So that'll be my top 4. And it's all in the poll, actually, on my channel. So that's my top 4. I would go for Mbappe first, Kevin De Bruyne second, one of Lautaro or Di Maria third, and lastly, I would go for Mr. Neymar. That is my top 4. Why Mbappe over Neymar 12th man? Good question. The reason why is because Neymar is cheaper, and that allows me to have a better team elsewhere. So if I do go for if I do go for Mbappe over Neymar, that means I have to downgrade someone else, and I'm already a bit thin. You know, I'm already doubting some of my picks, like Plata, for example. So I just don't think it's worth downgrading another position. And honestly, as good as Mbappe is, I'm still not that confident enough in Mbappe to spend so much money, the most expensive player in the game, on someone that I'm not so sure about him and France really this year. I think Mbappe will score in matchday 1, don't get me wrong, but I don't have enough confidence or as much in Mbappe as I do in Neymar. So I know it sounds a bit long-winded there, but that's my answer there. Basically, more money to invest elsewhere, and also I think Brazil are a better team than France, really. So that's my kind of reasoning, whether it's right or wrong. Thank you, Karen, much appreciated. Trossard or DePaul? DePaul's going to start for sure. He starts every game for Argentina. Trossard, though, isn't nailed. I'd still say Trossard, but what you could do is once we get to the game and Belgium don't start Trossard, you could then maybe switch to an Uruguay left winger like De Azcareta, or you could also go for Nicolas de la Cruz, whoever starts for Uruguay basically. Remember, you do get 2 free transfers. Once matchday 1 starts, you get 2 free transfers to use in matchday 1 throughout the matchday, and you can bring out someone who's not going to start, who hasn't played yet, and then bring in someone who has yet to play. So I would go for Trossard and then maybe switch him to an Uruguay left winger at 5.5 million. That's my answer. Why Dumfries or not Van Dijk? Because Dumfries is very offensive. Van Dijk obviously has the set piece threat, but Dumfries can get it from open play, and he also has assist potential. I think Dumfries is far more likely to score, getting 7 points for every goal, so I'd go for Dumfries. Very simple there. The best family and defender besides Trippier, in my opinion, it's Otamendi. Or you could even say Acuna for matchday 1 specifically. Thoughts on Sarabia? I like him. I think he'll start most games, but my main concern is him being subbed off around 58, 63 minutes. Check every single game for Spain recently. Sarabia is either benched or he starts and is subbed off very early. Thoughts on Modric? I like him a lot. He's on penalties. He's, I want to say in the form of his life, because he's just been great throughout his whole career, but he's still a fantastic player, one of the very best midfielders in the world, and he's also the talisman for Croatia. So I think Modric is a great choice. I know he's not maybe the most fancy in fantasy games because he's not the greatest goal scorer or assister, but he can do, you know, either one of those. He can get key passes, and also he's on penalties. There's a lot to like with Modric, and Croatia, I think, have a really good chance of topping the group. Someone on Twitter seems to think you can transfer a lock premium to a lock cheap. Yes. Then an unlock cheap to another unlock premium. Yes, that's a good point, Marco. We have briefly discussed that earlier. And to be honest, my personal opinion is that it won't happen, that you will not be able to do that because that's just a really huge loophole and it's not even addressed in the rules. So look, it could happen, it's a possibility, but in my opinion, it won't be the case and you won't be able to do that. Lucas or Theo Hernandez, according to reports that I've seen, Lucas Hernandez will start as the left back and Theo Hernandez will be on the bench. So I would go for Lucas. Why Trippier over Shaw? Because Trippier's on set pieces. He's also a bit more nailed on in my opinion because he can also play on the left-hand side. And Trippier has been fantastic all season. Thank you very much, Sukman. I appreciate it. Morata or Giroud? Giroud. I like Morata, especially match day 1, but I'd probably go for Giroud. Musiala or Sane? Musiala. Kane plus Ascareta or Giroud, Lautaro plus Sane? Well, that's a really good question. Probably Lautaro and Sane, but it's a really close call. Danilo and Sandro probable starters for Brazil? Exactly. You got it completely right there, Anton. That is what's predicted. Also Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, Alisson in goal. I think Casemiro, Lucas Paqueta and Fred. And up front, Rafinha, Richarlison and Neymar. I think that's the predicted lineup I've seen recently. Best 6 million midfielder other than Skov Olsen and the pool? I would go for De Ascareta at 5.5 million from Uruguay. I know I've butchered his name a lot of times. I'll try to fix that up. Kamada is another choice I like. Plata, 4.5 million. If I had to nail it down to 1, I'd go for either Trossard or the Uruguay midfielder. Whoever starts between De La Cruz and Ascareta. Arrascaeta. Oh, Jesus. Best 6.5 million striker, I'd say Enner Valencia. Or you could go for Alvarez, and if he does start, keep him, of course. And if he doesn't, then take him out for someone else. But then the options do stretch a little bit thin. Basically, I'll give you a top 3. Alvarez if he starts as number 1, but I don't think he will start. So Batshuayi first, Enner Valencia second, Alvarez third. And if he starts, Alvarez jumps straight up to first place, in my opinion. Hola, Dylan, suerte, hermano. Nobody has mentioned Ansu Fati. Yes, Fati's a good option. I think Spain have a really exciting team going forwards, and Ferran Torres doesn't actually start, Vidal, someone else who asked about a Spain player. So it's a close one. I'm not so sure exactly what the nailed-on front three for Spain is, but my guess is either Morata or Asensio up front. Then you've got Ansu Fati and Sarabia. So 3 of those 4 will start. And as for Ferran Torres, he used to be a nailed-on starter, but I don't know, people are kind of pointing towards him dating Luis Enrique's daughter. And ever since he's been benched, I'm not so sure what the situation is there. But I would favour Fati over Ferran Torres right now. I'm not so sure about Al-Maki, to be honest. I'm not so sure if he's a good pick. In my opinion. I could be wrong. Giroud or Martinez? I would go for Lautaro Martinez. Plata and Kane, KDB and Afif. Plata and Kane. I have Emi Martinez and Messi. Should I get an Argentinian defender like Otamendi or a Brazilian defender? I would go for Otamendi, just because I know he's going to start. With Brazil, I'd still have a few doubts, especially with the fullbacks, and Brazil have a tougher game on paper. Now, Brazil are probably one of the very best defenses in the world, but at the same time, on paper, you would look at the fullbacks and say, they're a bit weak, you know. They were targeted in the Copa America final, and they have been targeted in other games, like against Belgium in the last World Cup. But yes, I'd go for Otamendi. Yes, of course, Giroud is a good option. He definitely is. But you've also got Richarlison, Gakpo, Enner Valencia, Batshuayi, Alvarez if he starts. This is my actual team, but I am considering changes. I'm not going to lie to you. And I definitely wouldn't recommend copying me. I've seen some people say that before. Thank you, Patrick. Maybe it's not working because the 0, or you put in an O instead of a 0. So it's J0CZ. I think that's how it is. So check that out, basically. I'm pretty sure if you click the link in the description, you will be able to join. So let me try put it again. Yeah, I'll try to put the link up, but I'm pretty sure it's very easy to join. Why not Pavard? I had him in my recent draft. Why not? Because I'm a bit doubtful about France, and also I think there are better options elsewhere, personally. Captaincy plan, at the moment, it is Messi and Neymar, but I'm also thinking about Kane and Messi. That's basically my captaincy plan, and something I need to lock in before we get to the Monday games. And I'll let you know when we get to the moment. Best 7.5 million midfielder, I've gone for Perisic, but also consider Kimmich, and you've also got a few others that I've mentioned many times in these videos. Is it worth having Giroud instead of Mbappe and power captain Kane? I think that's a good shout. Cylindra, you might not want to captain Kane, and that's a good way of covering him in England offensively. That's not a bad shout, but I would still rather have Kane and Mbappe basically both covered. Louis van Gaal will announce Noppert as first goalie. Will that change anything for you? I mean, it makes him definitely a bit more, you know, a bit more attractive as an option. I won't deny that, but I'm very happy with Martinez and Roche, to be fair. Best 3-point family defender to have, for me, it's Borna Sosa. Best 5-point family midfielder, either Trossard or De Arrascaeta. Jesus. Do you think Saka starts? I believe he does, but I'm not a big believer in him being nailed. I think he will be rotated sometimes. No, it looks like it's going to be Noppert, who's going to be the main starter for the Netherlands. Di Maria, Matty Cash, or Acuna and Musiala? Good question. I would go for Acuna and Musiala, Aaron. Pavard and Bergwijn or Cancelo and Olsen? Well, that's a really good question. I would go for Pavard and Bergwijn. I mean, that's 50-50 almost. Not a bad shout, Bachir, but despite how poor Mexico have been, I still think it's a very evenly matched contest between Poland and Mexico. And as for Ronaldo, he hasn't been great for club and country recently, so not for me. Do you fancy Rabiot? No, I don't. Wilson Rodriguez, penalty. Sorry, I just missed your question because the chat just keeps on moving. Penalty taking defender for Switzerland, yes, and he has been for the last few tournaments. Not a bad shout, but with Switzerland, yeah, Matchday 1 looks good for them, but after that, in Matchday 2 and 3, obviously you're probably just going to wildcard in 2 anyway, so that's fine. It's not a bad shout, I will admit that, but Switzerland have been very inconsistent over the last year or so. I thought they'd be much better. Even against Ghana the other day, they lost, which definitely surprised me. No, you can't, Terence, you can't. So you only have 2 captaincy options. And actually, we did cover this in the How to Play guide, but I was still doubting myself, like, is this really true? So basically, you have 2 captaincy options. You can change your captaincy as many times as you'd like before the player actually begins their match. But once they do, and you captain someone, so let's say, for example, we get to Tuesday, 10 a.m. UK time, Messi starts the game, he's your captain, you will only be able to change your captaincy once more when the Argentina game finishes to someone who has yet to play in the games later on Tuesday or on the Wednesday or Thursday. You only have 2 captains per match day, aka game week. So don't be confused with match day. It doesn't mean a day within a game week. It means match day, the entire game week. So 2 captaincy options per game week. That is basically it. Is Mbolo a good choice? He's decent, especially for match day 1. Messi is fit. He's just doing individual training because he's a bit like Lautaro Martinez the other day. He's been overworked a little bit, so they're just trying to ease him back in. No worries, he should start. Why I can't do 12-man now? Don't tell me that the site crashed. That would be just absolutely poor. Best midfielder Denmark assets. The way I'd rank it is Olsen first, Eriksen second, and Højbjerg third. Olsen Shaqiri, good option. He always does well for Switzerland, but I'm not so sure about him this time round. He hasn't been as impressive for Switzerland in recent games for them, but he always turns up for the tournaments, it seems. He's not a bad choice. I'm going for Perisic at the moment, and I'll be honest, look, if you're looking at my team, I'm looking at the likes of Perisic, Plata, and maybe even Cancelo as the ones that I'm a bit unsure about. I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm going for Perisic right now. Who did you put it on, though, Remzinho? If you put it on someone you don't want a 12-man captain or put the 12th man on, then you just make a new account, if you can, over the next 35 minutes or so. ¿Qué es tu opinión de Lautaro Martínez? Y creo que va a jugar el partido y va a empezar y creo que es uno de los mejores delanteros que cuestan 8 millones o menos. Para mí es un muy buen delantero y buena opción. No tengo problemas con él. Going for CR7 because of the name isn't a stupid nan. Fair enough. Best 5 million defender. In my opinion, it's Trippier, Shaw, and Otamendi. They are 3 of the best ones for me. Who is your 12th man now? I haven't activated it, but I think I'm going to go for Mbappe. Why Plata? Because he's an exciting young player. I would like to have a bit of coverage for the first game, but more importantly, I need a 4-point family midfielder to facilitate the rest of my players, and Plata, it's between him and Kazri and Paredes. I'm not going to go for Paredes, and I'm not a big fan of the other 4-point family and choices, so I'm going for Plata. I think he's the least worst of a bad bunch, you could say. I hope, he could do well, and I hope he does. The Paul plus Musiala or Martinez and De Arrascaeta? Probably Martinez and De Arrascaeta. Dylan, goalkeeper options from lowest to highest price for Matchday 1. We've covered this already, but Roche, 4 million, Galindez would be my 2 favourites. 4.5 million, I would say Noppert. He is expected to start for the Netherlands. At 5 million, Diogo Costa. At 5.5 million, it would be Martinez. And at 6 million, Alisson. I think that kind of covers it. Pavard versus Shaw, I prefer Shaw. I went quadruple Argentina. Acuna, Lautaro, Messi, Di Maria's 12th man. I like it. I'm not actually that opposed to it. Hopefully you don't jinx them, but that's a really good quadruple. You've got a triple up in their attack and a defender. I have to say, I like it a lot. I will try to activate the 12th man. I haven't used it yet, but I think I will confirm it now. So we've got 33 minutes left. Unfortunately, there will be people copying. I do highly advise not to do that. Sometimes I do essentially cover up my team to kind of prevent mass copying, and it might happen in Matchday 2 just to kind of give you an indication. So try not to copy and play your own game, enjoy it, and have a really good tournament. You might do even better if you go with your own decisions rather than going with what I do or anyone else does, because you're always going to be a step behind in essence. So I think I'm going to activate the 12th man. Let me know your thoughts, and actually let's check on the poll. 77% of you are going for yes, and most of you are going for Mbappe as your 12th man. So 12th man, I think I'm going to apply it now. So basically, once you click apply, you then need to select your player, and I'm going for Mbappe here. And then you have to click confirm, and that's it. I think I'm going to go for Mbappe. I'm also considering Lautaro Martinez and De Bruyne. I think it's between those three, but I might just end up going for Mbappe, really. So Mbappe, 12th man. What could go wrong? Let's just go for him. He is now my 12th man, and it's confirmed. I can't change it. So, yeah. By the way, I was on the wrong screen, so you might not have seen it. Let me just refresh the page, and there you go. Mbappe is my 12th man. And, yeah, let's see how it goes. I mean, wow. Blimey. So we went through the Ecuador lineup. Yeah, I'm going for the Qatar one. If you want me to go through it, let me know in the chat. Someone asked, Ecuador or Qatar? Obviously, there's this record of the host nation never losing the opener, but I'm going to go for Ecuador. I hope they win, and they are an impressive team. They're the youngest squad going into this World Cup, and they've gone for a very offensive lineup. I think Ecuador. Why Mailer? He's 4.5 million, mate. He's got 17 returns in 15 games post to Euros. He was great last year in Euro 2020 Fantasy Football. He's an offensive fullback. He's playing in one of the best teams in the World Cup, really, so why not? No, I don't think Rabiot's good, honestly. Trossard or Modric? I would say Trossard, but my main concern is him starting. I know Modric will. He's the best player for Croatia. Hey Dylan, why the 12th man strategy? Because I'm looking to wildcard in 2. I don't want to repeat myself because I have talked about this before. I'm not trying to be rude, by the way, but it's because we've gone through a lot of questions. I will go through this in detail in my upcoming wildcard and chip strategy videos, but I'm going to wildcard in 2, and I'll probably use the power captain in the knockout stages, maybe even the final. And the 12th man will be used here because in match day 3 there's a lot of rotation. I'm using the wildcard in 2, and you can't use 2 boosters in the same match day, and I don't want to use the 12th man going into the knockouts when there are kind of stronger teams left and you don't have these kind of weaker opposition to target. So that's why I'm using the 12th man now on Kylian Mbappe. Thank you, Adestra. Thank you very much. How come not captain Kane first and Messi? Yes, of course you can. And like I said, I am considering it. That is my big dilemma. And I might put a poll out, by the way, and you can make your feelings known. So I'm either going to captain Kane first, then Messi, or go for Messi first, then Neymar. You can only have 2 captaincy options per match day once they actually play. So I'm going to end this poll. And by the way, we had over 800 votes. Thank you very much. 77% of you went for yes in terms of using the 12th man in match day 1. So let's put one more poll here. And if you want any other polls, let me know in the comments, because I want you guys to have any kind of questions or queries answered, not only by me, but by the entire community. So let's go through this now. I just forgot what I was going to put. Thank you, Daniel, by the way, for becoming a legend. That's very much appreciated. The highest tier available. And yeah, nice badges, by the way. I didn't know about that, but we have a nice badge there for you. Welcome to the legend group. And thank you very much, mate. Honestly, it means a lot. I actually might move this up a little bit. So yeah, we don't want to cover that beautiful badge. Honestly, we don't. So thank you, mate. Thank you very much, Daniel. And thank you to all the channel members and patrons. So the poll I was going to do, what was it? Well, what was my poll going to be about? Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. I got some bad memory loss then. So, yeah, I was asked the question. I've asked this many times. So, best family midfielder for me is between the Paul, Gonzalo Plata, and Kazri, and I would favour Plata. And by the way, I think we just got another member. Let me just check. Maybe not. I think it just loaded up now. So I got asked here, and many people are asking, why do you have Neymar on the bench? So the reason why I have why I have him on the bench is because he plays on Thursday. And what you want to do is make sure that everyone on your bench doesn't play on the first day, because you can make substitutions throughout the match day as the games happen. So once Plata plays against Qatar, let's say he blanks, I can then bring him out and bring on Neymar ahead of the Thursday game. So you can react to the lineups and bring players in just as you can in UCL Fantasy. So I'm not going to bench Neymar. Why would I spend 10.5 million on someone to just bench him, just to make my bench look fancy? No, it's because I want to maximize my squad points and the potential avenues to maximizing my score. That's pretty much it. No Trossard, not at the moment, because I'm unsure about him starting. Most Belgians are telling me they don't think he's going to start, which is a big shame. And he's also an injury out at the moment. I'm not going for either goalkeeper, but from those two, I'd go for Alisson. So let me actually try and remember what the poll was going to be. I don't think it was about the 12th man. Oh, yes, it was about the captaincy. So my bad. And thank you, Amir. I'm going to go through your super chat very soon. So just hang on a little second. Thank you very much. So which captaincy duo would you go for? And let's put a little emoji. So let's go for Kane plus Messi. Flags as well, maybe. All right, so just bear with me for a second. Kane plus Messi. And the other one will be Messi and Neymar. So be sure to vote in this as well. Let your feelings known. At the moment, I am going for Messi and Neymar as my captaincy duo, but I may change to what I originally had, which was Kane and Messi. So this is going to be the captaincy duo. Remember, you can only change your captaincy once after your original captain plays. So let's go to the super chat by Amir before I lose it. So thank you, mate. Bye, Sosa, Hoffman, Ahmed, masterclass today. Oh, fair enough. Good luck, mate. Let's wait and see what happens. I think Ecuador will score, but in recent games, they haven't scored a single goal in the last 5 matches. Most of you are going for Messi and Neymar. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, I thought it would be the other way around. Is Acuna nailed? Not completely. I've said this before. So Argentina tend to rotate their fullbacks, especially Acuna versus Tagliafico. And I think Acuna will start in matchday 1, but in matchday 2 and 3, in at least one of those match days, I think Acuna will be benched and it will be Tagliafico starting. Neymar's a tougher fixture than Kane. I agree. Definitely on paper, I think Serbia are a really underrated nation. And my kind of dark horses of the tournament are Uruguay, Serbia, and Denmark. I think they are the 3 that people think they're a good team, they're all right, but I don't see them going far. But any single one of them could reach a quarterfinal or even semi-final. I would not be surprised. Best Benzema replacement. As I like for Mbappe, Harry Kane, Neymar, Messi, I think they're the best premium forwards, but you can also go to Lautaro Martinez, cheaper, and it also allows you to go for De Bruyne midfield or upgrade elsewhere. So just let me know who you have already, then I can give you a better answer, because honestly, there's so many options. Best mid under 5 million. In my personal opinion, it's Plata, but you've also got Kazri. And don't say Plomo, by the way. I don't want to talk about Narcos. But yes, it's between one of those two, and I'd say Plata. There are Scaretta or Kamada. I would go for the Uruguayan. I'll just call him the Uruguayan from now on. Dumfries, does he start? I believe so. And if he doesn't, you can then get rid of him and make a transfer using one of your 2 free transfers you get after the matchday 1 deadline is locked. So we've got 25 minutes left. I'm looking forward to this game, and I will be rushing to see it as soon as this stream is over. Welcome, I'm a miracle. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to... best midfielder for 8 million or less. I'd say Olsen. He's my favourite one. He's 6 million. He offers a lot of good value. He's also one of the biggest attacking threats for Denmark. It would be Olsen. Gakpo or Lautaro? Lautaro Martinez for me. Why have I got Plata in my starting 11? Because he plays now. Why would I bench Plata when he's on the, when he plays now, and I would miss out on his points if I have him on the bench? Remember, I cover all of the substitutions in my How to Play guide. You want to have players on your bench who play on Wednesday and Thursday. No one who plays today. You can bring them on during the week. It's all made clear in the defense. I'm reading another question. ¿Cuál es el mejor defensa de Argentina? Para mí, Otamendi. Y si no, tienes a Martínez en el arco. Yo digo Otamendi porque juega todos los partidos y cuesta 5 millones nada más. Acuna para la jornada 1 puede ser el mejor, pero si quieres a alguien para la jornada 2 y 3 también, no tengo mucha confianza que Acuna va a jugar todos los partidos para Argentina en el fase de grupos. Así que yo diría Otamendi si quieres a alguien a largo plazo, pero para la jornada 1, Acuna. Yo creo que va a jugar. Best forward, 7.5 million. I would probably say Giroud, Richarlison. Yeah, one of those two. And I'd say Giroud, maybe. It's really close. Best Perisic replacement. Sarabia's a good choice. You've also got Kimmich at 7 million. Olsen. All of them are good shouts. Bergwijn for me, Leo. I think Bergwijn's a really good probably the best out of position player in the game. Eriksen or Valverde? Probably Eriksen, actually. He's my favourite. Best forward from Spain, I would say Morata or Asensio. He's technically a midfielder, I think, but he's playing down the middle for Spain. No, Lisandro Martinez will not play. We covered the Argentina lineup. It's expected to be Romero and Otamendi. Unless Romero has a complication and he's not able to start, that's the only way Lisandro comes in. Or if Argentina switch formations, which they have been considering, to a back three to put Lisandro Martinez in, or considering to go for 4 attackers basically with Alvarez. But I think Argentina will keep things as they are and just put McAllister in for Lo Celso, and it will be Romero and Otamendi centre-backs. Brazilian defender, I would probably say Marquinhos. He's nailed on. He's really good from set pieces, because with the fullbacks, I just don't really trust them. Danilo is expected to start. The same goes for Alexandro. I would go for Saka if you can, but I'm not a big fan of any of them in World Cup Fantasy. It looks like it will be Noppert. He started in goal in the last game, and a lot of Dutch reports are indicating he will be the main starter. Thank you very much, May. I very much appreciate the kind words, and to everyone else watching. How good does it look? Sane plus Lautaro Martinez. It looks great. I'm not as big of a fan of Sane in this game as I would be in UCL Fantasy, but never rule out Sane. He's a great player. Saka, Lautaro, Sosa, or Acuna, Kane, Plata. Saka, Lautaro, Sosa looks good, but I think I'd go for Acuna, Kane, and Plata. It's a really close one, though. I have to say, I'd be 50-50 on it. What do you think about Switzerland strikers? I like them for Matchday 1, but not for Matchday 2 and 3. And to be honest, you don't need to think about that. You can wildcard in 2. Yeah, I like them for Matchday 1. And then Bolo is the starter. I would go for Di Maria, mate. I ranked the Denmark midfielders earlier, and I said Olsen first, Eriksen second, and Højbjerg third. Let me just turn on the light, by the way, just so you have a bit more light. De Paul or Plata? Plata. Sane or Di Maria? Di Maria. Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. I'm trying to go for every question, by the way, so let's see if we can. Trossard or Bentancur? Trossard. And if he doesn't start, you can then maybe switch to not Bentancur. I would go for Nicolas de la Cruz or Diaz Carreta. Whoever starts as the left winger for Uruguay, and you'll get the lineup and you can make a change with a free transfer. Don't worry about that. How does the captaincy work here? No. So it's a bit different to UCL Fantasy. The subs are exactly the same. The only difference being, you know, you can make a sub between the same day within a match day. But the captaincy, you can only have 2 captaincy options per match day, per game week. You can't change your captain every single day like you can in UCL Fantasy, unfortunately. Batshuayi or Gakpo? I would go for Gakpo. Roche or Al-Shib? I'd go for Roche. Is Bale a good option? I think from Wales he's the best one, but he's a forward, isn't he? I wouldn't go for him as a result. I think I'd rather just go for Lautaro, Giroud, Richarlison. You've got all these other options who are a bit more expensive as well. Sandro or Pavard or Shaw? Have Trippier. I would go for Shaw. It's between him and Pavard. If you don't like double up in England defence, go for Pavard, but I probably would go for Shaw. Trossard. And if Trossard doesn't start, you can move him on to someone else before they play. Will Foden start? I'm not so sure. It's between him and Sterling, I think, on the left, and Saka starts on the right with Kane up front. De Bruyne or Di Maria? In isolation, De Bruyne is probably the better pick, but Di Maria has the better fixture. He also is cheaper, and he enables you to go really big up front. Because of that, I'd go for Di Maria, but no problems with Kevin De Bruyne whatsoever, of course. 68% of you, 65% of you now, have gone for Messi and Neymar. That is incredible. Pavard or Theo Hernandez? Theo Hernandez isn't expected to start, mate. It's going to be Pavard. This is according to the predicted lineup. Pavard, I think it's Konate, Varane, and Lucas Hernandez, not Theo Hernandez. So I would go for Pavard. What do you think about Alex Telles? He's not going to start, apparently, according to reports. It will be Alexandro starting as the left back. Caicedo, good player, but in fantasy, I wouldn't go for him. I'd rather just go for Plata. He's more offensive. Let's see what else you lot have. Will you wildcard Gaming 2? Yes, I've explained this before. I think it's just the best time to use it by far now, unfortunately. Danilo or Cancelo? Cancelo. Morata or Vlahovic for Matchday 1? But even for all the group stages. For Matchday 1, Morata. For the whole group stages, probably still Morata, but I have to say Mitrovic is my preference over Vlahovic if you want a Serbian striker. Thank you very much for the kind words. Kane and Plata or Lautaro and Perisic? Probably Lautaro and Perisic, but it's a really close call. Will Sosa play? Yes, every Croatian that I've spoken to says he will play, and he is the main left back, although they have changed quite a bit in that position, which I guess is the reason why he's so cheap. I'm not sure, Stefan. I think there are still a few players that haven't been added to the game. I'm not sure if he's one of them still. De Paul we've covered many times. I think he's a great player in real life. He's the engine of the Argentina team, but in fantasy, you're only going to get points from key passes and the occasional goal and assist. I don't think he's the best option. Kane or De Bruyne, I have gone for Kane, so that's my answer. Neymar or Mbappe, Neymar, and you can get Mbappe in as the 12th man. De Paul, good option, but I think there are better ones like Plata. Giroud or Suarez, Giroud. Pedri or Perisic, Perisic. Sarabia or Musiala, that's a really good question. I would go for Musiala, but I'm really torn on that one. Sarabia or Perisic, I've gone for Perisic. When should I use Power Captain? I would recommend... Sorry, I'm crying. No, I would recommend using it in the knockout stages because in Matchday 2, Wildcard is the best thing to use. You could use the 12th man now, and in Matchday 3, there's a lot of rotation, so I would probably use the Power Captain in the knockout stages. Yeah, the Paul we've already answered several times. Wouldn't you want to play 3-4-3 if you have Mbappe as 12th man? Then you would have 4 attackers getting points. It makes no difference, mate. Mbappe his points will count towards my team no matter what. He's locked in. That's it. It's irreversible. It doesn't matter what formation I play. Neymar will come into my team. Let me make that very clear. He's on my bench because it gives me the opportunity to get points from Plata, and then I have a decision to make. Do I get rid of these players, and do I get rid of the players who blank for someone like Neymar? Well, obviously you want to do that. So Neymar will come in, but at the moment he's on my bench because it gives the likes of Plata, Perisic, and everyone else who plays before Neymar an opportunity to get points for me. So I just don't see any reason why I would do otherwise. Dumfries downgrade and upgrade Plata to the pool. Not for me. I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's worth it. I think Plata is arguably better than De Paul in World Cup fantasy. I would go for Olsen, Connor. Best 5-point family midfielder, I would go for Trossard or whoever starts for Uruguay. So either De Arrascaeta or Nicolas de la Cruz. Thoughts on Trossard versus Skov Olsen? Olsen's more nailed, and he also I think is a better pick in general. I think being nailed is obviously a big part of that. And also Denmark are a better team than Belgium right now. So Olsen it is for me. Perisic or Bellingham, I would go for Perisic. What do you think of Vitinha? Not a bad shout. And look, Portugal have so many quality players, but I'm mainly looking at Diogo Costa in goal, Cancelo, and then maybe someone up front. I mean, I don't think I'd go for Ronaldo, but yeah, I don't think Vitinha is the best option. What about Gnabry as a striker? Good shout, but you've also got Havertz, you've got Müller, Musiala, and Germany could rotate quite a bit, actually, in terms of their attack. So how does the 12th man work? We've covered this already in the How to Play guide, and also today. You bring in a player on the 12th man who isn't in your squad, and you can pick absolutely anybody you want. You could even bring in Lautaro Martinez and have 4 Argentina players, and there are no budget restrictions. You can bring in absolutely anybody, but once you confirm it, you can't reverse it. Very simple stuff. Also, Modric, he's one of my favourite midfielders, and if I had enough money, I think I would do Perisic to Modric. I think I would. I need 2 sub players with 7 million left. Someone tell. I'll be honest, you're kind of selling yourself short because, yeah, you can maybe get Borna Sosa in defence for 3.5 million, but midfielder, there's not going to be anybody of real value. So I would try to spread the funds and have a really balanced squad overall. So yeah, I would try to have a bit more money invested in your subs because you can then bring them on or have them play and then bring on the big hitters later on in the week. Musiala, good option? Yes, I think so. Not my favourite option, but he is good. Mitrovic or Taremi? For Matchday 1, I'd say Taremi. It's a close one, though, and I think generally I would say Mitrovic, but Brazil, for me, are one of the best teams. Thank you, Connor. Trossard plus 0.5 million or Olsen? Olsen. I'd just go for him. 4.5 million goalkeeper, I'd go for the Dutch goalkeeper, Noppert, who is expected to start, and if he doesn't, you can then bring him out for another 4.5 million goalkeeper of your choice. That's the way I'd go about it. Foden or Valverde? I would probably say Foden, but he's also more risky. I'm not as confident in him starting as I would be with Valverde. Best Germany attacker? I would probably say Musiala or Havertz. Any other 8 million forwards other than Lautaro? We've covered this already. Richarlison, Giroud, Gakpo, all of them are good. I would go for Lautaro Martinez. Why Plata? Because he plays today and he's cheap. I'm only really going for him because he's 4.5 million and I need that for my squad structure. Kudus a good option. He's not bad, but he wasn't in the last squad for Ghana, and also I'm not that confident of Ghana getting much, especially against Portugal and Uruguay. top 3 7.5 million forwards in order. I would say Giroud first, Richarlison second, and Gakpo third. Although maybe you could go with Gakpo over Richarlison, but those top 3, I think it's a good list for you. Why does no one have Giroud? Probably all the doubts about France. You know, they are looking a lot weaker than they used to be. Once again, any spam comments, they're not going to be answered. Try to be patient, and your questions will be answered. That's as simple as that. Paredes or Plata? Plata. Lukaku or Giroud? Lukaku's missing the first 2 match days, so Giroud. Sosa, Trossard, or Plata, Dumfries? I would go for Sosa and Trossard, and then you can move on Trossard to someone else, but it's really close. Hola, ¿crees que Giroud juegue de titular? Creo que sí. Obviamente, Francia tiene otras opciones también, pero creo que va a jugar Giroud con Mbappé y quizás Dembélé. Yo creo que Giroud va a jugar. Best family midfielder, I would say... Look, there's plenty of decent options, actually, to be fair. More than I expected, but I would go for Plata. That's what I'm going for right now. ¿Algún jugador de Costa Rica? Pienso que Kendall Waston anota muchos goles y es defensa. Sí, la verdad no vi mucho de Costa Rica y no hice mucho research de Costa Rica, pero creo que Keylor Navas siempre es bueno en mundiales. El jugador que mencionaste, Kendall Waston, puede ser muy bueno también, pero no tengo mucha confianza en Costa Rica. Obviamente también fue lo mismo en 2014. Mira lo que hizo Costa Rica. Ganó en un grupo con Italia, Inglaterra y Uruguay. Así que imagínate, cualquier cosa puede pasar. Pero sí, para mí, lo que dijiste vos, o si no, tienes a Keylor Navas como arquero también. Use 12 man now? I would recommend it, yes. It's completely up to you. You could use a Matchday 3 or even Matchday 2, but my preference and my recommendation for everyone is using the 12 man now and using the wildcard in Matchday 2. Why don't you have Pavard? I got rid of him, and I'm just not that confident of France. I even said it when I had Pavard, and you know, I've upgraded him to Cancelo. I'll be honest, I'm a bit unsure about Cancelo and Portugal per se keeping a clean sheet, but I still think it's a good option. De Escareta or Plata? I'd go for the Uruguayan, but there is a chance he doesn't start, and you can then switch him to Nicolas de la Cruz or someone else. Costa or Martinez? Martinez. Yeah, you're spamming the chat. I don't see the need for that. This is the year for Argentina. Messi to win the World Cup. Vamos Argentina. I mean, it's tough. Argentina are one of the favourites, and for me, one of the best teams, but it doesn't mean you're going to win it. You've got Brazil, you've got France, you've got so many other top nations, so it's going to be close. It should be quite open. Let's see what happens. Costa, Ramsdale, or Livakovic? Great question. I like Livakovic, but I think I'd go for Costa. Ramsdale won't start for England. It will be Pickford. Bruno Fernandes or Musiala? I would go for Musiala. Sane or Musiala? Musiala. Acuna plays? Yes. He's expected to start? Yes. If you plan to wildcard in Matchday 2, surely you have many more Spain players. They easily have the best fixture. I wouldn't say that. I don't think they have the best fixture on paper. For me, Argentina do. Or at least they have one of the easiest fixtures on paper. Look, yeah, Spain, I'm not going to say they're bad options. Of course, they have some good choices. But for me, there's a lot of rotation. Even players like Sarabia, who I like, he gets subbed off very early. Their strikers aren't clinical. The defense, there's a lot of rotation in some areas. So it's quite hard to kind of nail that down. I think Unai Simon is a very easy set and forget player. But you might want someone with a bit more, you know, potential to get a lot of goals like Sarabia, Morata, Asensio. So, yeah, of course, they have some good options, but that doesn't mean you need to stack up on them. You can't cover every single team. Yeah, Mbappe for 12th man. I think we're all doing that. Bruno Fernandes or Kimmich? That's a tough one. I think if money is no issue, I'd go for Bruno. What do you think of Thorgan Hazard? Thorgan Hazard, I don't think he starts. And either way, from Belgium, for me, it's De Bruyne. Trossard if he starts, and that's about it, really. I'm not a big fan of the rest. Plata or Kazri? I'm going for Plata. Shaw, Cancelo. Cancelo, but it's a close one. The deadline's literally in 9 minutes, so be sure to lock in your teams. There could be a site crash, you never know. Gundogan, Musiala or Modric? Great question, I'd go for Modric. Thoughts on Trossard to Plata and Pavard to Cancelo? I think I would do it, and I did something very similar to you, actually. I literally did the exact same thing, I think. Trossard to Plata, and yeah, I think I did the exact same thing. Is Trippier nailed to start for the first match? I would be very surprised if he didn't start. I think Trippier starts, yes. How does the 12th man work? We covered it. You just select a player outside your squad, no budget restrictions. You can even quadruple on a certain team with the 12th man, and you can bring it of any single position, but you can't captain, transfer, or sub this player out. Very simple stuff. It's up to you, John Darren. I'm going for Mbappe. You can see it on screen on the left-hand corner. But I would also recommend De Bruyne. Maybe if you don't have Neymar, Messi. If you don't have Messi, I'd highly recommend putting him in as the 12th man. Harry Kane, a fourth Argentina player like Di Maria or Lautaro, depending on who you have already. My preference is Mbappe, though. It just depends on your team. Best nailed Brazil defender, Marquinhos. Mitrovic or Gakpo? For Matchday 1, Gakpo. Perisic or Kimmich? I'm going for Perisic, but it's a close call. Musiala or Kimmich? I think Kimmich is just a bit more safe. I think he's a bit more likely to get returns, but Musiala has the highest ceiling, and he's obviously in incredible form. I think I would risk it with Musiala if you have the funds. Hi Dylan, not many punts in your team. Surprised considering you basically get free hits, not tempted? I mean, Plata, for example, you might not expect it, but his ownership is like 0.8%. And I did look at my ownership yesterday and I thought, yeah, I do have quite a lot of template picks, so to speak. Now, what I have considered is, for example, doing Martinez to Diego Costa, Cancelo down to, let's say, Luke Shaw or something like that, and then upgrading one of my midfielders like Perisic to a 9 million player. I have considered all these things, but I like this team, and it's also the combination of certain players, like Harry Kane, only 20% ownership, and look, Plata's 0.9% now, Bergwijn's not even 20% ownership. You've also got Olsen, who, to be honest, I don't know how he's not owned by more, but I think he's a good choice. Martinez and Perisic, also relative differentials. Look, I would love to have a lot of players with low ownership, but it doesn't mean you don't have to go out of your way to get low-owned players and just go all out. You have to also just go for the players you think will score the most points, and that's what I've gone for. It's as simple as that, really. KDB, Giroud, or Kane, Perisic? Wow, that's a fantastic question. I'd probably say Kane and Perisic. Will Rocher start? I believe he will. I've covered this already. Acuna and Bergwijn or Trossard and Cancelo? Thanks. Acuna and Bergwijn. Yeah, the game's about to start. Literally 6 minutes. We've got that question again. Thank you, Raul. Thank you very much, and I wish you luck as well. 3.5 million goalkeeper plays. I don't think it exists. And honestly, you can go for Roche at 4 million, who's going to start. Galindez is starting right now. You've got the Qatar goalkeeper. I don't really see a need to go for a 3.5 million one. Try to find the extra 500,000 if you can. Goalkeeper Costa and forward Kane or goalkeeper Martinez and Ronaldo? Costa and Kane. Here we go. Good luck. Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Good luck to you as well. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. And once again, we're going to just do one last push to keep on pushing these likes. Let's try to get this to over 300. And we're also looking to push on now to 18,000 subscribers and beyond. Thank you very much to everyone who showed support today. We have reached 17,000 subscribers and we have also gained a lot of members. So honestly, I very much appreciate all your support. So to kind of recap, before I go through some last questions and comments, I'm going for Martinez in goal from Argentina with Roche as my backup. And my defense is Mailer, Trippier, Dumfries. Cancelo and Bruno Sosa are on my bench. The same goes for Neymar. And the reason why is because they play later in the week and I can bring them on after my players have played between now, the Sunday, and the Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I can make subs accordingly. Bring out those players you blank and then bring on these players like Neymar who have a really good chance of scoring points. My midfield is Olsen, Di Maria, Bergwijn, Plata and Perisic with Messi captain and Kane up front. Now, one last minute decision I could make is captaining Kane, then going for Messi in the following day. But at the moment, I think I might go for Messi and Neymar to kind of spread the captaincy throughout the week. And also because I really fancy Brazil to still score 2 or 3 goals past Serbia. So it's a close call, but I think I'm going to go for Messi and Neymar captain. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. I want to see. And I think it's a good squad overall. Of course, there will be issues. And it's not exactly the most exciting team you could say in terms of ownership, but I'm still quite happy with it overall. And I've got a few doubts, but I'm not going to try to overthink it too much. Yo prefiero al Trippier. Cuesta menos, 5 millones comprado con 5.5 y también tiene más chances de asistencias y goles. Good luck as well, Soldier Boy. I have Plata, didn't realize he will... Sorry, I'm going to get your question up again. Scroll down. Didn't realize it was that low owned, but yes, template picks are template for a reason. Yeah, it's obviously, look, I'd love to have more kind of non-template players, but at the same time, even Olsen, quite low ownership in my opinion. 12th man now, it's completely up to you, but I have done it, yes. I am Argentinian, yes, I am. Captain Kane, why not? I don't think it's a bad option. Then you can go to Messi or Neymar later in the week, or even Mbappe. Good luck, Harry. Yeah, once again, no starting 3.5 million goalkeeper. Is Trippier nailed? I believe so. Galindez, Cancelo, or Costa, Pavard? Really good question. I'd probably go for Costa and Pavard. Really close. Best 8 million forward, Lautaro Martinez for me. Sarabia or Eriksson? I'd probably say Sarabia, but like I said again, his minutes are a big concern. He always gets subbed off very early, so he could be subbed off for a one-pointer. I would not be surprised. Why not captain Kane and switch to Messi? I have considered it, and it was in my team selection as well. Locked in, says Luca. Yep, good stuff. We have 3 minutes left, by the way, to lock in our teams, so make sure to do that. Best 8 million forward, yeah, we covered. Saka or Foden? I'd say Saka, but honestly, it's a really close call. My second captain would be Neymar. It's between him and Kane, basically, in terms of my captaincy choices, but Messi will definitely be my captain at some stage, unless I captain Kane suddenly last minute or two, and he does a really good job, and I don't need to change the captaincy. Best 8 million midfielder, I would maybe say Musiala, but it's a really close call. Kimmich, Cancelo, or Musiala, Danilo? Kimmich and Cancelo. The deadline is literally in 2 minutes, mate, so yeah, 4 p.m. Good luck as well, Adash. All the best of luck for you as well. Gakpo should play, yes, right in behind Bergwijn and Janssen or Depay. Thank you, Ventislav. Thank you for the consistent positive vibe. I'm a useful stream as always. Keep the spirit and enjoy the first match. Likewise to you. Thank you very much for always tuning in, mate. It's always a pleasure. Forwards for me, Lautaro, Messi, and Neymar. Yeah, I like it. That's a really good forward line. 3 South Americans with great fixtures, especially Argentina. Let's wait and see what happens. Saka differential, yes, but he's also not the most nailed. Kovacic or Damsgaard? Damsgaard had a really good Euro 2020, but he's not nailed anymore. Honestly, I'd rather go to Olsen. I'd rather go elsewhere, basically. From those two, I'm not even sure Damsgaard starts anymore, so I'd probably say Kovacic. I'm not a big fan, though. Who starts at striker for Croatia? That's a good question. So they do have different options like Petkovic. I think he's the one who's going to start up front. Let me know, by the way, if I'm wrong about that. Giroud and De Paul or Lautaro Martinez and Plata? Lautaro Martinez and Plata. Close one, though. Best 9 million forward, Gnabry. I'd say Lautaro Martinez once again. Richarlison, Giroud. I think there's different options. Gakpo even. Thank you, Singh. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, yeah, the rules have been also very, very weird as well. They have been very weird and very unclear. So maybe you have dodged a bullet in that regard. But honestly, it should be fun. And I do like some of the rules in this game. It's just a shame it took so long to clarify. Ferran Torres or Gakpo? Gakpo. Cancelo or Trippier? Trippier. So we've covered everything, basically. I think people who don't have Messi don't like him, maybe. But to be fair, Argentina could score goals without Messi scoring. You know, even the other day they scored 5 and Messi was only involved in 2. So... But yeah, I think he's a great choice, and he's the most owned player in the game, to be fair. So we are literally about to lock in. I think I'm going to go for Messi as my first captain, then Neymar. I'm a bit unsure about that, I'll be completely honest, because Harry Kane's also a great choice as a captaincy. But yeah, I think we're going to be locked in now. We're literally just seconds away, and there we go. The site has refreshed, and we are good to go. So that is my final team, which we've covered already on this channel, and that went by so quickly, these kind of 2 hours or so. So thank you to everyone for making it a blast. Best 5.5 million defender. I would have probably said the same thing. So Mailer for me is the best defender in the game at his price and below. You've also got Otamendi, Shaw, Trippier. They're all great choices. I'd say any single one of those. Shaw or Sandro? Luke Shaw. Neymar is a shout for Golden Boot. Definitely go for him, but I am a noob. Nah, yeah, and also Brazil are a great team, and even against Serbia, I could see them scoring 2 or 3, and that's why I've gone for it. And with England, they have struggled a lot in the last year or so. So me going for 2 England players is actually quite surprising in the end. Thank you, Adam. So can the wildcard be activated after kickoff for next week or no? Because you get free transfers for during the game week 1. So basically, you need to activate the wildcard before the matchday 2 deadline. And then during the match day, you can still have the wildcard. It's still active, and you can bring out the locked players who have already played, and then bring in players, you know, for next week basically. And you cover 2 match days that way. But you need to activate the wildcard before match day 2 begins, before the next deadline. But you don't activate it right now, basically. Just activate it after the last game of match day 1. That's the kind of window you have, really. Cancelo or Dumfries? Dumfries would have been my preference. Yep, we are locked in. And there goes the deadline exactly. Good luck as well, the Scrambler. Always a pleasure. Yes, we are completely done. Made Mbappe 12th man. It seems a bit too good to be true. You know, Mbappe, you know, most goal contributions this year. He's facing Australia. It might be a bit trickier than it seems. And I think last time he played Australia in 2018, he didn't score or get an assist. Good luck as well, Soldier Boy. I went for Asensio and Pavard instead of Perisic and Cancelo. What do you think? I have no problems with that. And one thing to bear in mind, by the way, because some of you might not be aware of this, the deadline has just passed. You can make 2 transfers now, and they will count for this match day. So all you need to do is bring out a player that hasn't played yet or before the game starts, and then bring in someone who is yet to play as well. So I'll make an example of this. Let's say we get to the Wednesday, I think that's when Perisic plays, and he's benched. I can actually get rid of him and then bring in a Spain player like Sarabia, and that will be part of one of my 2 free transfers, which is obviously very weird for us to get 2 free transfers when we just got unlimited, but that's the way this game goes, and it's not a bad idea, to be fair. It does definitely improve the micromanagement, or at least increases it, but that's the way it works, so hopefully you do get that. Thank you, Shreyan. It's been a pleasure to host you as well. Thank you. Great content, Dylan. Keep up. Thank you, as always, for the positive comments and questions. Thank you very much. Good luck, Cubics. And also Alessandro, with some very good picks there. Good luck, Marco. Have Giroud too, yes. And by the way, I want to watch the game. I can't lie, but I also want to go through your questions. So yeah, I'm going to keep on going. I might even turn on the TV now, although I'm not sure that's the best idea for me to do that. I've gone for no Brazil coverage and double England defence because wildcard next game week. No problems with that. And Serbia are a good team. Trust me. I think they could go through. And double England defence, I was seriously considering it with Luke Shaw and Trippier. Thank you, Alessandro, as always, and have a good time as well. It's showing a single transfer -3 on app. Yeah, so remember, when we get to this stage now, you can make 2 free transfers, but any additional transfer you make will incur a -3 hit. What you have there, Colin, might be a glitch, simply, so don't worry about that. I forgot to use the 12th man. Yeah, I basically used it in the last half an hour of the stream, but it was always my intention to use it in Matchday 1. Let's see how it goes. Thank you, Theo. We got 2 free transfers during Matchday 1. Exactly, Colin. Yes, we do. Dylan, best Matchday to activate wildcard, Matchday 2. We covered this earlier, but basically, if you activate the wildcard before Matchday 2 begins, you are able to build a team for Matchday 2, but at the same time, during the matchday of Matchday 2, as the games go by, you can take out locked players, so players who've already played, and bring in players ahead of Matchday 3, so you cover in 2 matchdays with the same wildcard. So Matchday 2 for me is the best time to use it. Made De Bruyne 12th man against Canada. He was another one I was considering. I like it. Hopefully it goes well for you. I went for Griezmann and Bernardo as a cheeky punt. Not a bad shout. Bernardo's a quality player. Griezmann has done it for France in the past. Good stuff. Best of luck, FH, as well. I appreciate your kind words, as always. France midfield isn't great. Sarabia will be the left wing for Spain, in my opinion. I agree. Sarabia sometimes plays on the right as well, by the way. But my main concern with Sarabia, and I've checked his last few games, is that he gets subbed off a lot. 45th minute, 58th minute, 62nd, 63rd. I don't like that at all. Thank you very much, Ben. Always a pleasure, and good luck in this World Cup, and enjoy it. Thank you, GBX. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lemmy. It's been a pleasure as well. And honestly, this has gone really, really quickly. Good luck, Dylan and everyone. Brought in the Qatar left wing back Ahmed for a punt. Nice one, Cylindra. I think a few people also did something similar. Good luck. Let's see what happens and how this game goes. Good luck, Lee Wilson. No Denmark players. I've got 2. So Olsen and Mailer. They're both from Denmark. Thank you, JR. Why not captain Kane as he plays before Messi? Because my plan is to captain Messi, then Neymar. It was really close, by the way. In the end, I decided to do that. Nice to have a fantasy app not crash for once. Being able to make last-minute decisions is great. Yeah, don't be too positive about that, though. It could change in the future. Yeah, Valencia goal already. So those of you that went for Valencia, enjoy it. Fair play. And who got the assist? That's what I want to know. Nice to have a fantasy app. Oh, yeah, I just said that. Where can we make the substitutions? Basically, as soon as a game finishes. So after Ecuador-Qatar finishes, you can make substitutions. That's basically what you can do. You can make substitutions whenever. You could even, for example, on Monday, bring out Kane and bring in Dumfries just after the England game finishes and just before the Netherlands game starts. That's the way it works. But I would recommend having players on your bench you play on the later days. Really wanted a Spain attacker, but pretty much all of them listed as forwards. Yeah, and also there's a lot of rotation there, and no one really gets 90 minutes, in my opinion. So yeah, goal Ecuador. That's what we're getting here. Great stuff. Thank you, Harry. Qatar going down. World Cup should never have been there. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, Ecuador are a decent team, and my main concern with them is scoring goals. But they're a good team, and it's good to see them score already so early. It could even be a 2 or 3-0. Hopefully, Plata gets in on the action. That would be my hope. Thank you, Zaid, and good luck as well. And thank you, Cylindra. I appreciate everyone keeping me up to date because, of course, yeah, I'm going to go watch the game now and enjoy myself. I've got a lot of Ecuadorian friends, and they will all be buzzing right now, to say the least. So, Yep, we've covered everything. Thank you to everyone for letting me know about that, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. We've covered so many questions today, and hopefully we have clarified things. Oh no, don't tell me VAR. Really? Oh, that's mad. So let's just go through these last two questions. If one of your transfers is locked, then the points will count for matchday 2. So the whole loop in the system doesn't seem to work. Still don't understand how to activate wildcard though. Yeah, exactly. So your points will count for matchday 2, but you also set your team up for matchday 3. I think the loophole that I don't think will work is bringing out Messi, then downgrading him to a 4.5 million forward after Messi plays, and then upgrading Plata or whoever up to Kevin De Bruyne. So basically, you have to make sure that the player you bring out in the midfield doesn't play yet, or hasn't played yet, and the player you bring in also hasn't played yet. So be aware of that as well. I don't think that will be the case. I think those transfers will be locked in for the next match day, and I don't think the loophole will work in that way. But in terms of the wild card, it will work. It was basically, man said offside, really? Ah, come on. Was it actually offside though? That's what I want to know. Was it offside? So yeah, no goal. Thank you to everyone for the update. That is a shame. I will say that. Valencia, 13 goals in 12 games with 4 assists this season, and has a great record for his country. The thing is, though, I'll be honest, Ecuadorians hate Enner Valencia. Not all of them, but he misses a lot of chances, and he's not a great finisher. He is a very frustrating player. Obviously, just now unlucky with the offside, but yeah, unfortunately, Alex, your comment hasn't aged well. It is offside. So yeah, we're getting all the messages flooding in. Who assisted? No one, because it's offside, unfortunately. So no goal. And never mind. Sorry, Alex. It's literally just the curse. That's why sometimes, even with Arsenal, I have to literally wait for the goal to be completely confirmed. Then I can start shouting like a maniac. But I will be watching the game very soon. So Alessandro is actually doubting the offside. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest. If it's going to be a tight decision, it will go in Qatar's favour. Can we use chips during the game week? So you have to use the chips before the matchday deadline. You have to do that. But with the wildcard that we're talking about, use it before the matchday 2 deadline, and you can basically use the free transfers, the unlimited free transfers throughout matchday 2 as well, and build your team for matchday 3. Make sure of that. So it was so tight, says Chu. Thank you for your help as well, Alex. Thank you very much. Never offside. Wow. It wasn't offside. It was a foul on the goalkeeper, apparently. They've just disallowed a perfectly fine goal. Honestly, in a way, I'm happy I didn't see that, because I don't like seeing corruption or bad decisions like that, which were in games. Yeah, it looks like it was BS then. Ecuador scoring wasn't in the script, so they had to take extra measures. Yeah, and even the referee, who's Italian, I've seen him in Champions League and Europa League before. He's not good. Obviously, he's not the only one taking decisions, but it does not surprise me that Ecuador have been finessed. It was not offside, bro. It's corruption, I'm telling you. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. Obviously, I haven't seen it myself. I'll then give my opinion afterwards, but I'm going to go watch the game now. Obviously, once again, talking to all of you is a blast. The last 2 hours have just gone by so quickly, so thank you very much. If you haven't already, you know what to do. Smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's try to get to 20,000 before the end of the year. I think we can do that, and let's keep smashing the like button to as many as possible. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. I'm going to go watch the game now. You can also check all the links in the description below for the World Cup Fantasy League, the Patreon, the channel memberships for early access to videos, and many other perks, and there could be a special offer very soon, so keep an eye out for that. And you can also join the Discord server where we talk about World Cup Fantasy, and we can continue the conversation on there as well as in the comment section of this video. I wish you all the best of luck for the World Cup. Hopefully no more corruption. Hopefully a great tournament. And I wish you all the best. Take care.